So, good afternoon. The time right now is 12:53, and I'm going to call this meeting of the Board of Regents to order. And I'll ask our Chief of Staff, Carrie Nikolajewski, to please take roll.
Chair Brooks.
Here.
Vice Chair Goodman.
Here.
Regent Ariscata.
Yeah.
Regent Batista. Regent Boylan.
Aye.
Regent Breger. Regent Brown.
Present.
Regent Carvalho.
Here.
Regent Del Carlo.
Here.
Regent Downs.
Here.
Regent Fernandez.
Present.
Regent Goycochea.
Here.
Regent McGrath.
Here.
You have a quorum present.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What I'd like to do is start us off with Rising for the National Anthem, and it'll be sung by CSN student Audrey Bennett. And I want to thank Audrey for extending her time with us so that she can sing this afternoon. She has several other places that she needs to be at because she is a sought-after national anthem performer. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Thank you, Audrey. That was fantastic. At this time, I'd like to call up CSN Senator Braden Bolter, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we will now move into agenda item number 1, public comment. For those who would like to call in and offer public comment, please dial 669-444-9171 and enter meeting ID 992-8475-3091 and passcode 555555. Is there any public comment at GBC?
There is no public comment at this time.
Thank you. Is there any public comment at the system office in Reno?
None in Reno.
Thank you. Then we'll move to public comment here at CSN.
Good morning, Regents. My name is Tracy Mizrachi. That's Mizrachi. I am back today because we are ready to deliver results for the land we share. Since January, we have been performing the site-specific analytics for the 42 acres at Tropicana and Koval. We are addressing an $81 million liability and turning it into a debt-free revenue engine. As I've shared before, our project is UEI registered and FARS compliant. We maintain these standards to ensure total accountability from day one. We know the decision to approve a 12% tuition hike to cover budget shortfalls was not easy, but we are here to ensure the students aren't just feeling the shock of that debt. We are here to help them become the innovators they were meant to be. This project justifies that fiscal shift by providing services and revenue right now without adding a single dollar of debt to UNLV's books. This is personal. My daughter is one of thousands of Las Vegas kids currently sitting on an early childhood education waitlist. We are solving this through our on-the-job training pipelines and mastery-based training. By establishing a simulation site on those 42 acres, we provide the operational logistics that turn childhood waitlists into graduation walks and high-paying careers. On March 26th, I will be at the listening session with my technical lead. I am inviting you to stand with us as we move forward on this project. The question isn't just about what we're building, but if we are ready to build the foundation for a legacy that actually matters. Thank you.
Afternoon, Regents. My name's Stephen Thornberry. I'm the chair of the Council of Chairs. I'm here with some of my fellow chairs, the ones that didn't have to get back to classes. And I just wanted to go ahead and read through this really quick. Hopefully I do it quick enough. In recent months, it has become clear that CSN has taken a firm stance on collective bargaining negotiations, and we are now at an impasse period. The Council of Chairs regrets this outcome, as there appears to be little willingness, particularly on the part of administration, to reach consensus. For context, negotiation began in October of 2024 and continues through February of 2026, or continue to February of 2026, it's 15 months. The Council of Chairs is especially concerned about the proposed changes to the collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, specifically Article 12, academic leadership roles. The article outlines majority responsibilities, compensation, and voting rights of department chairs. During negotiations, the administration has suggested that department chairs are not faculty members, but solely administrators, and therefore should not be included in the bargaining unit. The council firmly opposes this position. Department chairs are faculty members who teach classes and should remain part of the bargaining unit. Additionally, the administration has proposed eliminating faculty voting rights in the selection of department chairs by moving to an appointment model rather than allowing faculty to elect their leadership. The council strongly opposes this initiative and supports maintaining the current process. We have clearly communicated this position to the Vice President. The CB also includes Article 4, academic freedom. We believe that the contract language shapes the real conditions under which academic freedom operates. Strong contractual protections are essential for faculty. The administration has refused to negotiate Article 14, arguing that it is not mandatory subject of bargaining. The position weakens protections for academic freedom and ultimately affects the program quality and faculty independence.
My name is Luis Ortega, and I'll continue reading the letter. The department chair oversees daily academic operations. Traditionally, funds generated from the summer tuition has been used to support academic departments. However, the administration has redirected these funds to other operation initiatives, significant reducing available department resources. Department budgets have been cut and cut and cut again, to the point where it is difficult to fund routine matters such as printing of office supplies. This situation contradicts student-first initiatives. CSN administration has proposed replacing the current pro-rata formula in Article 8 with that pay rate of $1,400 per IU. This will be a pay cut for nearly all faculty during a period where inflation has skyrocketed and purchasing power has decreased. We respectfully ask the Board of Regents to take action and increase faculty salaries and protect faculty rights. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Villa. Thank you. Drop my chapstick. I am a past faculty senate chair. I'm a past department chair. I'm a past chair of chairs. And I've been on the collective bargaining negotiations team before I did all these. Here not to tell you to do anything or to make our president do anything or anything like that, because I understand how it works here, but I ask you to listen to these people. The ones after me, the ones before me, they're upset for a reason. They're gonna get emotional, they're gonna say things. They're not trying to get out of line here, but It's a frustrating thing when you spend hours every single Friday, 4, 5, 6 hours every Friday trying to negotiate for a year and a half, and this is what's going on. So I ask you to reach out to some of these people, talk to them, talk to our admin, just have conversations to find out more information of what's going on, because it is very frustrating to everybody, whether you're on the team or you're not. Just try to find out what's going on, ask some questions. Thank you.
Hello, Stacy Walters. I'm president of the Nevada Faculty Alliance and on the bargaining team here at CSN. So we're in 16 months of negotiations, and over the last month, CSN has stopped bargaining in any meaningful way, pushing us toward fact-finding, which delays resolution and creates instability for students and employees. Here's the plain language problem. Bargaining is being narrowed to only the minimum required topics, while other long-standing current contract language is being treated as disposable, meaning they're eliminating it. That doesn't streamline the process. It strips the contract and fuels conflict. On the ground, that looks like faculty input being dismissed, not weighed, because it is not mandatory. It looks like delay, stalling, and elimination of language that previously helped the campus operate predictably. I've helped negotiate prior agreements that both CSN and faculty described here to this board as sustainable and workable. So when the approach shifts from problem solving to delay and strip, it fractures trust and makes settlement harder. My ask is simple: more board oversight. By requiring regular, standardized bargaining updates from CSN, what's settled, what's stuck, and why. Asking directly, are campuses bargaining a complete successor agreement or a minimum shell only? With CSN moving into fact-finding, asking who decided to stop bargaining and what is the plan to restart real negotiations now? Thank you.
Hello. I'm here to support CSN faculty. I'm a faculty member. I teach history. I've been a history instructor for 26 years. This is my 21st year at CSN. It's a great place to work. I love it. It's great. I'm here to support CSN faculty on 2 issues. Issue number 1, summer pay. That should be a non-negotiable on cutting. We should never have our pay cut for the summer or for fall or spring. I'm the only breadwinner in my family. I'm the breadwinner. They depend on my income. I have a disabled son that, he needs my income. So I encourage any CBA negotiation. Immediately, there shouldn't be any discussion on salary, unless you want to raise it. And then number two, the second issue I want to comment on, department chairs, faculty members should have the most say in who our department chairs are. They're on our team. They're our advocates when we work with administration, and so we should have the most say in who our department chairs are. They work with us on a daily basis. So thank you for your time. You have a great day.
Sir, before you leave, sir, can we just get your name for the record?
Can I tell you after you vote on number 9? I'm just kidding. Troy Bills, Troy, Bills, B as in boy, EALS, history faculty. Have a good day, everyone. All right.
Hello, Jim Matovina, Matovina. I'm a math professor here at CSN. I don't want to rehash many of the things that have been said and are going to be said. I too am frustrated at the impasse of the collective bargaining. We can negotiate, we can collectively bargain because you allow us to do so. And it is very, very frustrating when there is no progress being made. If you can encourage the teams and even Dr. Klippenstein, if you can do anything to help encourage the progression of bargaining for the betterment of the institution, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Kenneth Monks, Monks. I'm also a mathematics faculty here at CSN. I was full-time faculty for 11 years in another state at an institution that had absolutely nothing like collective bargaining, and retention of full-time faculty there on average was 8 years and far less in mathematics. I'm very grateful to be at an institution that does have collective bargaining. You can definitely see the difference it makes. And just wanted to add my voice to the chorus of voices, optimistic that it can proceed and keep providing the good that it has. So, thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Brooks, Vice Chair Goodman, Honorable Regents. My name is Randy Robinson. I'm appearing here with wearing two hats today. First, as the chair of the Institutional Advisory Council here at CSN, but also as Director of Government Affairs at the City of Las Vegas. Specifically wanted to address items number 12 and 13 on your agenda, the East Side Educational Training Center. As you all know, the West Side Educational Training Center opened recently, and there's tremendous excitement in the community, from the city, obviously from CSN. It's just a wonderful partnership. I assume when this idea was first conceived several years ago, we probably thought we're on sort of the cutting edge and a bit in creative. I can tell you now this is the model, not only here but across the country. It's captured well in the background information on the agenda today, the integrated model. We have an educational institution, local government, we have state and local workforce elements all coming together to help our people. We sometimes call them residents or constituents or voters or taxpayers. We call them lots of things. They don't care. They just know that they need work, good job, good pay, so they can support their families and keep our community growing. So these are phenomenal institutions. I'm here to offer just unequivocal support, both on behalf of the IAC as well as the City of Las Vegas. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Joshua Levin. I'm a faculty member in the Department of Human Behavior, and I've been a professor there for 25 years now. I've also served on the Senate for about 20 years, and that gave me a chance to see a lot of changes over all these years. And I wanted to speak just a little bit concerning collective bargaining. And what I'd like to do is just share something that maybe you can keep in mind as you hear what I think is going to be just a growing chorus of concern about what is being proposed and has never really been proposed before. And what I'd like you to think about is that in all of those 25 years that I've served anyways, something has been consistent at CSN. And that thing that we have consistently heard from our students and even from you when you've come and visited us over and over again in Senate is that we have great teachers and that we have great education that comes from professors who deeply care. And they care like that because they are empowered, genuinely empowered and appreciated to do what they do in the way that they can do best. And the proposals that are being made really, for the first time, really don't reflect that. The proposals being made in collective bargaining, what they reflect is that we don't appreciate you and we don't trust you to do good work. And I don't think that that's actually reflected in the record. It's a problem that doesn't need to be fixed. And instead, I hope that you will do what's necessary to help continue to empower faculty to do what they need to do, because great teaching, ultimately great teaching comes from loving it. It comes from the heart. And when instead you try to create great teaching by requiring, by legislating, what you do is you take away the opportunity for each individual to feel the responsibility to their own students. And it's out of that responsibility that they meet them with love and they meet them with their best effort. This is not what's happening in the collective bargaining context.
Thank
And
you,
so,
sir.
thank you.
You've hit your 2 minutes. Thank you. SES, is there any public comment on the phone?
There are no callers at this time, Mr. Chair.
Great, perfect. So here's what we're going to do. First, I want to thank everybody who worked with me in collaboration with the public comment. We anticipated there would be a lot more, and I greatly appreciate those who were able to consolidate some of the ideas so that we move through public comment pretty quickly. So again, thank you very much. Thank you again to CSN Senator Braden Boltler for leading us in the pledge. We're going to move some items around, but what we're going to do right now is break for a working lunch. And what I'd ask is continued collaboration throughout the day so that we can move things along. I'll ask that Regents please grab some lunch and come back to the dais so that we can get moving pretty quickly. They didn't have any. Thanks, Heather. And so so that's what we'll do now is break for lunch, and thank you very much. All right, we're going to continue on with with our meeting, and we're going to move right into agenda item number 2, and I'm going to ask our host, President, CSN President Klippenstein, to please introduce the faculty members and students that will be presenting before us today.
Thank you very much. Chair Brooks, Vice Chair Goodman, members of the board, good afternoon and welcome to CSN, the West Charleston campus. I'm Stacy Klippenstein for the record, the proud president of CSN. It's a pleasure to have you on our campus. It's even a greater pleasure to have 3 faculty members and a student join us today to share an innovative approach to teaching and learning. What they will share is timely, important to the work we do, enhances student learning, and incorporates technological advances in an innovative way. This is what CSN is about, remain futurist as a teaching institution, one that values student success, faculty development, and implementing transformative solutions in and outside the classroom. I would like to introduce our 3 faculty members who will provide an overview of the work at CSN, and also one student who has had the ability to learn in a creative environment based on an instructor's innovative pedagogical approach. The 3 faculty we have here today is Dr. Ann DeCluet, business professor, Dr. Mark Taramino, our computer information technology professor, and also Dr. Joshua Levin, our anthropology professor. We also have our student named Luke Pendleton. He's a CSN journalism major. And now I'll pass it off to Dr. DeCluet.
Thank you, President Klippenstein. I'm glad that you have your lunch, so you should be nice and happy, no hangry people, and just keep your mouths full while I am presenting, and it should be great. Once again, I'm Ann DeCluet. Oh, there we go. I'm Dr. Ann DeCluet, Professor of Business Administration and the former chair of the Faculty Center Visioning Task Force. It is my pleasure to advise you, our esteemed Board of Regents and Chancellor, of the work we've been engaged in since fall 2023. I'm doing so on behalf of the implementation team led by instructional librarian Tori Kellogg, who is currently at a conference. The image you are seeing served as an inspiration for us during the work that we did. It is an image of the Faculty Center at Daytona State College. But as for our own Faculty Center, we have a goal, which is to support faculty in developing high-impact, student-centered learning experiences, while recognizing that faculty have a unique professional development trajectory. So as a teaching institution, learner-focused instruction is central to our mission. So how can we do that? Through innovative teaching practices designed for contemporary learning. So while we will have something for everyone, we are targeting various populations of opportunity, such as our new faculty, our part-time faculty, and as we support the changing needs of our students who have an abundance of information right there at their fingertips and help guide them to evaluate that information critically, especially in a rapidly evolving technology world, ranging from we can consider that rapidly evolving technology to range from disruptive to constructive. So, so we've been on this pathway as a task force and an implementation team for the last 2.5 years to bring that center to life. Among other activities in this 2.5 years, we've scoured the literature, sought advice from institutions with existing centers, including Nevada State, and we've also sought advice from organizations such as Pod Network, who have a faculty development as their central mission. So, we've worked with institutional research to gather feedback from peers across the discipline within CSN. We've held listening sessions with students to deliver, and we've done all of this to deliver a comprehensive proposal based on solid qualitative and quantitative research using primary and secondary sources. So more recently, we've extended an offer to a director candidate, identified physical space on this West Charleston campus. We've drafted a website page and kept our colleagues in the loop every step of the way. As we look forward to launching a soft launch in this fall. So, for just a snapshot of faculty innovation going on right now, I'll pass it to my colleague, Dr. Mark Taramino.
Thank you, and it's an honor to follow you. Let me see if I could just advance the slides here. There we go. I'd like to start off by thanking Dr. Klippenstein and Dr. McCoy for recognizing some of the work I've done here over the past 2 years with this thing we call AI, or artificial intelligence. And I think we know that it could be one of the most transformative technologies that any of us have ever seen in our lifetime. I mean, as much as impactful maybe as going from, horses to automobiles. So I am a professor in the Computing and Information Technology Department, and my expertise is in instructional technology, which is basically using digital and computer technology in the pursuit of learning. So one of the challenges, well, probably the biggest challenge in any technology, is to marry the technology with the learning theory and the pedagogy. Very purposeful. On this slide, you'll see the technology is third. And that is our challenge as educators here. And I started this pursuit about 2 years ago with the advent of what we call large learning modules that have really changed the landscape of instructional technology. So one of the things that I saw early on were lots of misconceptions about what AI is, what it isn't, a lot of noise, and more than anything, a lot of fear coming from faculty and fear coming from students. And we cannot learn effectively when there's fear, and we certainly cannot have faculty embrace new technology in a positive way if they believe that it's ultimately detrimental, it is going to degrade our learning environment. So, burr lives.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, okay, had a folk song back in the 60s called The Donut Song. And the refrain was, watch the donut, not the hole. And the if anybody knows that song, it's okay, all right? Don't be ashamed. But what it means is if you focus only on the negative, you'll never see the positive. Every technology has two sides to it. Probably every invention, has its pluses and minuses. So what we need to do here is we need to own it. And about a year and a half ago, 3 semesters ago, I saw a ripe opportunity for us at CSN to lead in this area. And I created what I call the seminar series. And this is where I created a seminar, 90 minutes. I go physically to classrooms, any campus, any subject, any instructor, and I will conduct a 90-minute seminar. And it has received quite enthusiastic reviews from faculty and from students. I go in there and we start off just talking turkey. What do you know about AI? What have your professors told you about it? Because there are so many misconceptions. So we kind of level the playing field. It's kind of like group therapy. But sometimes nobody gets better. But we try anyway, right? So the instructor feedback here, you can see here, the ability to demystify it, that's a start, and that's a big start. Then I walk students through not only their perceptions, I introduce them to a few tools, and I teach them how to use AI as a study buddy or a tool. It's not a homework machine. It is not a system to cheat, okay? And this kind of opens up or removes the blinders from everybody. And my little metaphor here was, what's beneath the iceberg is much larger than often what we see. So first attacking it or addressing it at the student level was essential. But then I also had to address the faculty level. And in that seminar, I think the faculty learned more than the students actually did, because the faculty began to see the possibilities here are endless. AI is a white blank canvas, and you have a palette of unlimited colors from which to paint. But with that comes great responsibility. And the challenge is many faculty are not really skilled in the learning theory and pedagogy, so we have to help them. Those of us part of the faculty that are expert in that area need to roll up our sleeves and help out. Obviously, what Ann has been doing with the Teaching and Learning Center is certainly going to go a long way. So here's just an example of how AI democratizes learning. I took something in one of my courses, very difficult for students to learn how to do Excel functions and write all the syntax. Anybody ever have fun with Excel? Maybe on a Saturday night, instead of watching a good movie, you play with Excel. Not, okay? So because of the democratization, to create a full-blown web application to teach this from soup to nuts took almost nothing, okay? I just talked to AI, I said, I want this, I want this. And what I was able to do is I was able to create an app that has feedback mechanisms. It's interactive, it's hands-on, it's all of these things we know work well in learning, amplified. And students did not have to wait if they have a question, because it is all baked in. The mastery of this was incredible. Now, you might ask yourself, well, why do you have pictures of airplanes on that if you're teaching Excel? Because I used a metaphor. I said, if you're an airline pilot, you can't land successfully 98% of the time. Because if you do, you're going to have a crash every 11 weeks. I calculated that based on commercial airline pilots. So that 98, 99% is no good. Hun and done. You've got to get it right. So you get unlimited attempts here. And I scaffold you. I built it into, I told AI, I want you to give them hints when they get it wrong, just like I would do in the classroom. I don't have to give you the answer. I can lead you along. Then I could use repetition and all these things. Now, the students love this, okay, because they achieve something they thought they never, ever could. Okay? They're scared to death of math. They're scared to death of syntax and, oh, this looks like programming. I don't want to do programming. All of that stuff. It completely reduces their fear and anxiety. So believe it or not, the joke's on me, because every student achieves mastery and gets 100%. Because at the end, if you get 100%, you get to see a little video of a plane landing, and it says, "Great landing, Captain Excel." And every single student, when they submit their little certificate, they say, exclamation, "I made the plane land," exclamation point. Not, "I got 100% or I mastered this." They're just happy. Okay, so there's so many things you can do with AI that is so creative. Okay, I never could have done this without AI. I would have been coding for the rest of my life. Okay, just not enough time. I only have 168 hours a week, right? And so that's the name of that. So here we go. Okay. I'm almost done here, okay? So the pedagogy, engagement motivation, I preserve the rigor, I achieve conceptual mastery. The students have, this is all the things we can do with AI at a positive level, and it's democratized. Anybody can do this now, not just a guy from the computer department. So students, I just took what students said and threw it in here. Multiple attempts, guided feedback, reduce all these things we want, mastery, okay? So AI is a walled garden. It has to be managed by each instructor. And that's how we get around, are they cheating? Are they misusing it? It depends on what you create. You can create individualized instruction for students, and let's face it, engagement leads to success. And that's exactly what we have here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Any questions? You good?
Are there any questions? There's none. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Regents, President Klippenstein, Vice President McCoy, for the opportunity to share the exciting work I've been doing. Let's listen as a student accesses an assignment on scientific thinking and levity learning, which is a program that I made using AI. It's a full-on educational platform. It begins like this. Welcome to my laboratory. I'm Dr. Levity, and I need your investigative skills for a perplexing case that's divided our entire town. Yesterday, a prominent merchant by the name of Marcus was found dead in his locked study. The townspeople are in heated debate about the cause. The town guard insists it was murder. They found the rival's threatening letter. The village elder claims sorcery. Marcus had recently angered a local mystic. The physician believes natural causes. Marcus was known to have a weak heart. Some whisper of infectious disease. There have been strange fevers in nearby villages. Each group is absolutely convinced they're right and keeps pointing to evidence that supports their view. The town council has asked me to determine the truth, but I need your help. The student responds. Before choosing any explanation, the first step is to gather evidence instead of relying on claims. I'd start by examining the locked study, Marcus's body, and any documents in the room. Dr. Levity responds, excellent. You've earned 3 points for identifying the critical need to examine evidence directly rather than accepting claims. You've just highlighted something fascinating about how people form beliefs. Notice how each group in town is doing something very human. They're collecting evidence that supports what they already believe to be true, but you're suggesting a different approach entirely. What do you think is the key difference between what townspeople are doing and what you're proposing to do, the student? Unlike the townspeople who start with a belief and then hunt for confirming evidence, I'm suggesting we start with evidence and let it shape the conclusion, even if it goes against what we expected. Dr. Levity. Brilliant. You've earned 4 points for deducing the fundamental difference between confirmation bias and evidence-based reasoning. You've just identified 2 completely different ways humans acquire knowledge. The townspeople are using what we might call the authority approach. They trust what their group believes and then seek supporting evidence. You're describing something else entirely. Let's step inside that locked study now. You see Marcus slumped over his desk, a half-finished letter beneath his hand. His face appears peaceful, no signs of struggle. On the floor nearby lies a small vial, empty. The threatening letter the guard mentioned sits open on a side table. Strange symbols are chalked faintly on one wall. Now here's the crucial question. As you observe these details, what should guide how we interpret them? This is just one brief snippet from one learning session in one custom scenario in Levity Learning. In this program, instructors can use the program to design limitless educational experiences around learning outcomes. Students can go back in time, they can journey inside cells, they can meet luminary figures. The key organizing principle is that they are not told information, rather they must earn points through discovery and analysis by critical thinking. Dr. Levity, the AI assistant instructor, skillfully guides students with Socratic questioning, providing immediate constructive feedback in every interaction. All of this represents one creative solution to a world that is exploding in terms of the speed of transformation. We cannot possibly address this quickly enough. It's the most important thing that's happening in education right now. And part of what we're moving towards is authentic learning and assessment. And what this program does and what people are trying to make happen is to integrate all of the aspects of learning in one seamless experience. So you see that study, feedback, assessment, and outcome are all unified. It all happens at one time. When the student is studying, doing the program, they're learning and they're getting feedback and they're getting assessment, all as they go through it. It's not one and then the other. All right. With all this too brief glimpse of what is possible, one of my bright new students, the best part of all, Luke Pendleton, has agreed to join us to share a bit of his experience with the program. So come on, Luke.
All right, hello everyone. As Joshua mentioned, I'm just going to be talking about my experience with the Levity Learning program. Throughout my higher education career, Levity Learning has been one of the most unique and thought-provoking online curriculums I've ever used. Unlike many digital platforms that focus on memorization or quick completion, Levity challenges me to truly engage with the material. It enables me to apply what I've learned in practical and meaningful ways rather than just repeating information for a grade. One of the most impactful parts of the program is the Levity research collaborations. These assignments force me to bring new understanding to the table. I can't simply copy and paste answers from the textbook. I have to reason through the material and demonstrate new insight or introduce fresh information. That expectation pushes me to think critically and engage more deeply with the content. Because these collaborations span an entire unit, they help me internalize large amounts of information over time instead of just cramming for a test and forgetting the material afterward. I'm consistently revisiting concepts, applying them, and building on them. It turns learning into an ongoing process rather than a short-term goal. Another aspect I found especially valuable is the Socratic Sage assignments. These allow me to take topics we've discussed in class and explore their practical applications by communicating with the Levity assistant. I'm able to discuss the material in a way that encourages me to make inferences and connections. It feels less like answering a question and more like having a thoughtful conversation. Through those discussions, I'm identifying patterns, forming conclusions, and deepening my overall understanding. What surprised me most is how deep these conversations can become. They allow me to express my thoughts in ways that no other online learning platform has. Some topics I've already been familiar with, so those conversations flow naturally. But others challenge me to think harder about what I can contribute and how I can move the discussion forward. That challenge has helped me grow academically. Overall, I highly recommend Levity Learning to anyone interested in taking anthropology. It transforms learning from memorization into meaningful engagement. I would genuinely love to see more classes adopt a similar program because it doesn't just help students earn grades, it helps them truly understand what they're studying. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you. Thank you, President Klippenstein, for, having the faculty and those students present to us. It was very, very interesting. Are there any regents who have questions? I don't see any. Thank you again. We appreciate it. We're going to move quickly through some agenda items. We'll now move to agenda item number 3. This is Regents Welcome, Introductions and Reports. I'd like to open it up to any regents who would like to make introductions or have a report. Typically, these are slated for 3 minutes. Just for consideration of time, if you can whittle it down to a couple, that would be fantastic. Are there any regents who would like to? Regent Carvalho?
Thank you, Chair Brooks. I'll make it as quickly as I can. It's been a busy time. I continue to attend and engage in monthly meetings of the State Board of Education, and I look forward to continuing to strengthen education partnerships in Nevada. I'm especially proud of the work that NSHE institutions have done in dual enrollment and teacher education. I want to give a special thank you to the team at UNR College of Education and Human Development's multi-tiered system of support team, also known as MTSS, who work closely with Nevada Department of Education to provide support to the state's K-12 schools and students. I also want to thank Renee Davis for presenting to the State Board in January on NSHE's College Readiness Dashboard. I also attended Clark County School District's Community Dream Session to provide feedback on their strategic planning process. And lastly, I'd like to thank Regent Del Carlo, who I'm so proud to say is the current chair of ACCT, and also the system office team for coordinating a successful visit to Washington, D.C. I want to send a big thank you, especially to CSN students Sovereign and Sarah and Vice President Coda for letting me join them during their visit in Washington. Advocating for our system and especially with students is an absolute honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Carvalho. Regent Del Carlo?
Thank you, and thank you, Regent Carvalho. It has been a very busy time, and since the December meeting, I spent 2 days in Washington, D.C. as the newly elected chair to meet the staff and to go over my priorities and year. And I got to pick my theme, and my theme this year as the national chair for community colleges is the health and well-being of our CEO, which I think is really, really important. And I don't know if some of you have seen this magazine. I got my picture on a magazine. How about that? I've got my article in here on the health and well-being of a CEO and what we're going to be doing. So I've got it marked, so I'm going to pass it down. And I want to do another shout out. Heather Brown made my reception in New Orleans extra special when you see the silly string picture. It was a moment to behold. Then I went to the National Legislative Summit. I was in town for a whole week because I do the orientation for the new board members. We change our board. We have 26 members, and every year it changes like a third. So that is busy. As the chair of ACCT, I was asked to be a judge at the National Bellwether College Consortium Awards in San Antonio, Texas. This is a national award in its 32nd year. They have 3 categories that you judge. It's workforce, planning, governance, and finance is a category. Then it's instructional programming and services. 114 colleges participated. They narrowed it down to 10 semifinalists in each category. I was an anonymous judge. I mean, nobody's supposed to know that you're there to be a judge, but I was. And I could not judge my institution, TMCC, but I'm going to tell you, they knocked it out of the park. My group for workforce, we were done judging, and it was an hour before they could figure out who to give the award to for planning, governance, and finance. And TMCC, it was between TMCC and the college that won it, which is in Ohio. So, and they did it on ghost students, and I think you probably saw that in their 5 things you need to know at TMCC. That was one of them. And then I've also been asked by Dr. Keith Curry. He was an actual candidate at CSN to be president back in about 2000 and Amy remembers, I think, 2018 or 19, and he's at Compton College, and he has led the nation on the Black student. And if anybody remembers on this board when the late, great Tyrone Thompson came and spoke. Don't forget the black male student. So he's leading a thing, and we all got an invitation. I'll be on that on March 18th. After I was done in San Antonio, I went down and saw Dr. Solis, and he's doing very well at his new college, and I did his podcast for Women's History Month. It'll air in March. And let's see, okay, next month I'll be going to the AACC conference. Dr. Darian Pollard, as you know, is the chair. She and I are going to co-present a seminar on for new presidents, because AACC gets a lot of new presidents too. So it's been a real busy time, but I'm loving every day, and the year goes really fast. So thank you. Oh, one more thing. I just want to congratulate all the tenured faculty. That's not a gift that anybody gives you. It's a very rigorous process. And I really congratulate you. And thank you, CSN, for a lovely setting.
Thank you, Regent Del Carlo. Regent Borland.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to thank President Sandoval for being so patient with me over the years about the veterinary school. And I got the most encouragement after each meeting when it was mentioned by our staff. That was Gary, Winter, and Holly. Whenever I finished a meeting and we had spoken about this, they would be like, yeah, keep it up, because we've all got dogs. We only talk in dog language. That's all we talk in when I talk to them. But I have to thank you, sir. I appreciate it, President Sandoval, for getting it done eventually. It's been a long haul. You know, I've been asking about it for 4 or 5 years, and then I started troubling you 3 years ago, something like that. But I appreciate it. I'm so glad to see that happen, and I hope that we can have more veterinarians in this town especially, because we are really, really short of them. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Regent Borland. Regent Brown.
Thank you so much, Regent Brown, for the record. I just want to, I had the opportunity to go to GBC's campus and walk to their new building, their capital improvement project, and it is coming along. It looks amazing. Love to see that 27-year-old carpet is no longer there. And it was really cool because we got to run into a couple staff, and they were just so happy to be in that space. And I think it's really great. The first time I visited campus, I was in that building. So it's nice that I got to see a before and after and just to see the staff. And I really think that's amazing. I was also on WNC's campus and got to see their capital improvement project as well. And it's just such a great space. And there was an active meeting going on in there. So we already know that that space is going to be used frequently. So I just was really excited to see, you know, these things in action. I want to congratulate Nevada State on kicking off women's flag football and your 3 big victories that day. That was amazing. And I also want to take the time to thank the CSN folks for allowing us to join them on their meetings with the congressional representatives. We got 5 out of the 6, which was pretty awesome, and they all took the time to meet with us. And we had good discussions, and we did a deep dive into what we can be doing from the state side and what they could be doing from the federal side. And when I was on TMCC's campus, they let me come into their leadership meeting and talk to them. And I just really appreciate all the hospitality that I get at all of our campuses. And I just continue to be in awe of all the amazing student body that's consistently representing their peers well. I love your social media. I love what you do in the meetings, and I love how active you are. So just don't stop, keep moving, and keep us honest and keep us on our toes. So thank you.
Thank you, Regent Brown. Are there any regents that I've missed? Regent Arascata or Regent Downs? Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item number 4. This will be the chair of the Nevada Student Alliance report, and I'll ask Vice Chair Lana Pierce from the Nevada Student Alliance to please provide us with the report.
Thank you, Chair. Hello, everybody. Now as actually the new chair of the Nevada Student Alliance, because Jennifer's term did end, so I've stepped up now. I will be giving the final NSA report to highlight and proudly brag about all of the amazing work happening across our student governments. Starting with the best, us. I'm just kidding. The Nevada State Student Alliance has been working nonstop to ensure transparency, awareness, and strong representation for all students. NSSA recently launched a new Canvas shell where we post weekly educational discussion posts to keep students informed about what is happening within NSHE, the conversations that directly impact them, and to gather feedback by meeting students where they already are Canvas. The responses students submit are completely anonymous, meaning we do not know who shared what, which helps create a more comfortable space for students to openly express their thoughts, concerns, and receive that feedback. Some of the feedback we've actually received includes students wanting more scholarship opportunities, a greater availability of in-person classes, and many students sharing that they were not familiar with who the Board of Regents are and would like to know more and have more information about its role and the impact on students. But since the special meeting in January, NSSA has also been visiting classes regularly to introduce who we are and increase transparency surrounding the recent tuition and fee increase and the impact it may have on students. Despite rising financial challenges, NSSA remains committed to supporting students through our 2 semesterly scholarships, Pierce the Way, and testing fee support, which are now open and will also be offered again in the summer for the fall semester. NSSA is excited to finish the rest of the term strong by continuing to advocate for NSU students, expand awareness of our work, and ensure every Scorpion feels supported, informed, and at home at Nevada State. Moving up north, let's recognize the work being done by TMCC Student Government Association. SGA's officers have been leading with pride in TMCC's Mental Health Advisory Committee and Democratic Engagement Coalition Committee, while also working on senator-led projects such as the SGA Feedback Forum and Student Scope. In addition to these initiatives, they have hosted several events, including a blood drive, spring club fair, and a voter registration drive. On top of all of this, they are continuing to think ahead by developing future initiatives for their SGA while wrapping up the election period for the 26-27 officer candidates, hosting events for online students, and celebrating President Dr. Alexander's inauguration next week. Staying in Northern Nevada, I also want to highlight the Associated Students of University of Nevada, Reno. Since December, their 3 major accomplishments have centered on student involvement, campus traditions, and strengthening partnerships. They're bringing back the Battle of the Organizations for the first time since COVID, featuring competitions such as athletic events, talent shows, and creative activities. They have also hosted major campus programming weeks such as Welcome Back Week, Mackey Week, and Civic Engagement Week, featuring events like farmers markets, mac and cheese and chicken nugget giveaways, and voter education initiatives. And in addition, they have also been strengthening partnerships and student engagement by collaborating with athletics to increase the student attendance at basketball games and continuing to work closely with local government partners and university administration to strengthen long-term collaboration. Adding on to the work happening at UNR, the Graduate Student Association has been actively preparing for upcoming leadership transitions through judicial, budget, elections, and finance committee elections. They will also be hosting a presidential meet and greet on March 16th to allow candidates to connect with graduate students. Additionally, their GSA Spring Awards received over 200 applications that are currently under review by judges, with the Spring Awards banquet planned for the first week of May to recognize outstanding graduate students, faculty, and staff. The Graduate School has also awarded the Graduate Student Parent Success Award to 46 graduate student parents this year, selected from 120 applicants. Transitioning back to Southern Nevada, the Associated Students of the College of Southern Nevada has been focusing on strengthening their internal governance while expanding opportunities for the student voice. They've been reviewing and updating their bylaws to ensure their governing documents accurately reflect their current structure, responsibilities, and best practices for student leadership. In addition, they have begun promoting upcoming ASCSN elections and hoping of encouraging greater student participation in shared governance and increasing campus-wide awareness. They're also planning a series of student forums that will allow students to communicate directly with executive administration, creating an open dialogue for students to share concerns, ideas, and feedback aimed at improving quality and the overall student experience at CSN. Continuing with our Southern Nevada institutions, the UNLV Graduate and Professional Student Association will be holding their free research forum open to the public on April 18th, featuring just under 200 presentations from graduate and professional students at UNLV. Alongside the work, they will be considering resolutions tonight requesting transparency from NSHE and UNLV as the institutions move forward through the 12% increase. Finally, their Constitution and Bylaws Committee has submitted a constitutional revision package to the Council for approval in April. The revisions will establish stronger checks and balances between the legislative and executive branches while formally securing operational practices. Also representing UNLV, the consolidated students of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas continue to make major investments in student spaces and resources. They're planning to match $100,000 with the university to create a new study space on the third floor of UNLV John S. Wright Hall. Their executive board has also been working with the Vice President of Student Affairs to refresh carpets and furniture in aging residence halls. Additionally, CSUN Senate has officially passed $15,000 in emergency funding to UNLV's on-campus food pantry to support students' food security. Shifting slightly north again, the Associated Students of Western Nevada recently hosted a Lunar New Year celebration featuring traditional activities that brought students together to celebrate cultural and community. Their elections will be taking place March 9th through the 13th, giving students the opportunity to vote in the next group of student leaders. ASWN is also looking forward to several upcoming events for students, including St. Patrick's Day celebrations, Global Game Day, and alcohol awareness programming. Last but not least, the Student Government Association of GBC has just wrapped up their elections and is happy to report that 95% of their senator positions are filled with ambitious students ready to continue the great work they're known for, while having their new president actually joining us today, President Storm Rain, right over there. But alongside with this, the increase in representation, they have also seen a rise in student participation across SGA and student affairs initiatives college-wide. They have received a tremendous amount of support for their college's executive team and staff, and are anticipating a 20% increase in student organizations at GBC in the near future. With all of the student governments doing amazing work and our terms coming to an end, I just want to quickly say thank you to all of them once again for taking on such an important role and a positively draining role. With the political climate right now and uncertainty often leaving us with just more questions than answers, serving in these positions requires courage, dedication, and a deep commitment to students. It's truly honorable work, and I'm grateful that the student leaders currently in these roles are the ones representing their campuses during this time, so thank you all. As my term as president comes to an end on April 30th, it leaves me with a bittersweet sense of gratitude, appreciation, and excitement of what's to come next. As I've stated in many, many different public comments and reports, I've been involved with NSHE student leadership realm for 4 years now, Senator, Attorney General, Vice President, and now President. I never saw myself being in student government and most definitely not sitting in this seat, speaking in front of leaders who have such a tremendous impact on students. Serving as president has been honorable, exhausting, sometimes overlooked, exciting, and truly transformational. The physical and verbal changes I have witnessed happen because of student voices and have been incredibly emotional for me. I love seeing the impact being made for students with the help of students and being able to witness how powerful student advocacy truly can be. More than anything, this experience has shown me that student voices matter. When students speak up, when leaders listen, and when collaboration happens with intention, real change is possible. My hope, moving forward with graduating this May with my bachelor's in communications, focusing in public relations and media studies, and minoring in digital cinema, is that NSHE leadership continues to prioritize transparency, collaboration, and student-centered decision-making. Students deserve to be heard, supported, and considered in every single conversation that happens and shapes their education and their future. As leaders across this system continuing their work, I encourage you to please listen to students. Keep showing up for them. Continue making decisions that truly reflect the needs and experiences of the communities you serve. More than encouragement, this moment calls for commitment. Students are paying attention, students are engaged, and students are asking to be a part of the conversations that directly shape their futures. Transparency should not be an occasional thing. It should be consistent. Support for students should not depend on circumstance. It should be unwavering. And decisions made within this system should always center the students who place their trust, time, and resources into their education every single day. When student voices are given the space they deserve, they do not weaken institutions, rather they strengthen them. So, as you continue to lead, I ask that you not only listen to the students, but truly hear them. Give them your attention. Invite their perspectives and ensure that the decisions made across the system are always grounded in what is best for the students across all campuses and across all communities. Because when students succeed, our institutions succeed, and that should always remain the mission that guides us forward. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to all the great work the Nevada Student Alliance is doing to represent all Nevada college students. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the report, and congratulations on the upcoming commencement. We certainly look forward to see what you do next. Thank you again. We'll move on to agenda item number 5. This will be the NSHE Classified Council Report. And I'd ask Deidre Hopkins, the Executive Member at Large for NSHE Classified Council, to please deliver the report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Brooks and Vice Chair Goodman, fellow regents, members, and attendees. My name is Dorita Hopkins. For the record, that's Derita, last name Hopkins, Hopkins. I am the current executive member at large for the Nevada System of Higher Education Classified Council for this fiscal year 26. The NSHE Classified Council selected Melinda Caskey of Great Basin College for the 2026 Regent Classified Outstanding Staff Award. We look forward to the Board of Regents approving this award to be given to our chosen outstanding classified employee for 2026. We met with Chancellor McNair on Monday, January the 26th. The NCC and Chancellor McNair discussed building trust back into the system along with the current funding formula. Excuse me. We share our concerns related to the cost of the annual staff parking permits. Some of the concerns were coming from UNLV, where the employees have to pay parking permits, and the need for the NSHE advocacy to make a policy change and implementation that would lower the cost for our classified employees. The Chancellor also heard our request to expand the dependent grant and aid to be used at all NSHE institution. I guess currently it's only at certain NSHE institution. So we're looking to have that to be used at all of the NSHE institution. We look forward to future discussion with the Chancellor to strengthen our ideas and as the institution. The council worked with our individual institution to provide a unified front against the changes that are being presented by PEB and encourage all of our constituents to express their concerns about the proposed premium and deductible increases by submitting public comments. We are very grateful to all those that participated and shared their stories with the PEB board. We have no doubt that helped influence the review that we have based on the financial information and the recalculation of the premium rates and deductibles to be presented by Siegel at the next PEB board meeting that is scheduled this month in March. We continue to look to the Board of Regents and Chancellor for guidance and specific changes to the policies and procedures. And I would like to also give a shout out to our CSN Executive Board for the classified employees here, led by Sarah Tatiala. And we also have Siobhan Reves as our co-chair. And then I would also like to give a shout out and a thank you to our CSN President Klippenstein for showing up every month and providing a brief overview and being transparent for our meeting. We appreciate that. And that's basically it. It's my first time, a little nervous.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. You did fantastic. Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 6. This is the Chair of the Council of Faculty Senate Chairs. I'll ask Dr. Ginger Doe, the Chair of the Council of Faculty Senate Chairs, to please provide us with the report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Brooks, Vice Chair Goodman, Regents, Chancellor McNair, and others present. Ginger Doe for the record. As you prepare to vote to bestow tenure to the current candidates from the different institutions, we wanted to take a few minutes to discuss tenure. Tenure is a central tenet of higher education. To earn tenure is to complete a highly structured and rigorous process that shapes faculty into stronger educators, scholars, and institutional citizens. It also sustains academic freedom, entrusting professors to teach their disciplines with integrity, conduct meaningful scholarship, and provide students with the highest quality education. As you have seen in the applications brought forward, tenure reflects years of sustained achievement measured against clearly defined standards. Tenure track candidates undergo comprehensive evaluations throughout their probationary period. These evaluations measure whether candidates consistently meet rigorous standards in teaching, scholarship, and service. Candidates are evaluated at multiple levels, including faculty, peers, deans, chief academic officers, institutional presidents, and ultimately you, the Board of Regents. Those who reach this stage have demonstrated sustained excellence and strong potential to continue serving their students, institutions, and communities at the highest level. The faculty earning tenure today are remarkable individuals. They are highly trained scholars and educators who bring deep expertise to Nevada's classrooms, laboratories, studios, and communities. They are creative problem solvers, dedicated mentors, and committed public servants who care deeply about improving the lives of Nevada's students and strengthening our state. Many could pursue careers elsewhere, but they have chosen to build their work and their futures here. Tenure is not only a recognition of past accomplishments, it is also an expectation that faculty will continue to uphold the highest professional standards. Academic freedom applies across disciplines ranging from the sciences to humanities and beyond. Faculty must be able to ask difficult questions, present complex issues, and sometimes challenge assumptions. Our students deserve to learn in an environment where ideas are explored rigorously and responsibly, being guided by subject matter experts who exercise academic freedom with integrity and professionalism. Tenure also represents an institutional investment as a commitment to long-term faculty engagement. It fosters innovation through cross-disciplinary and high-impact teaching practices, while cultivating a strong sense of shared ownership in the institutional mission. It also gives a level of sustainability to the campus where faculty are able to begin, implement, and sustain multi-year initiatives. When we speak about student success metrics, we speak of things like persistence, graduation, and workforce readiness. Behind each of these measures are meaningful relationships. This includes the relationship between tenured faculty and students. Tenured faculty often serve as advisors and mentors, formally and informally helping students navigate academic pathways and career goals. We supervise undergraduate and graduate research, write letters of recommendation, and connect students to professional networks. After tenure, faculty continue to serve. We serve on a multitude of committees, including tenure and probationary committees, curriculum review committees, assessment committees, and faculty senates. Many assume leadership roles in these valuable committees. Our service ensures high-quality education, research, and academic integrity. Most of this committee work is unseen, precisely because the system is functioning effectively. Tenure is also a fiscally responsible process. Faculty turnover has significant financial costs, including national searches, and loss of program momentum. Tenure promotes long-term commitment to institutions and communities, strengthening student success and regional workforce development. Tenure also plays a crucial role in shared governance. NSHE institutions rely on faculty expertise and long-term institutional knowledge to guide academic policy, evaluate curricular changes, and ensure that decisions support student learning. When shared governance functions well, students benefit and the institutions remain strong. At its core, tenure is an investment in our students. They deserve faculty who will challenge them intellectually, mentor them thoughtfully, build programs that will stand the test of time, and contribute to the stewardship of their institutions. As faculty who have gone through this process ourselves, the chairs thank you for your thoughtful consideration of the candidates. They have met the highest standards of our institutions and are prepared to uphold the responsibilities that tenure carries in service to our students, our institution, and the state of Nevada. Thank you for your continued service to the Nevada system of higher education.
Thank you, Chair. We'll now move on to agenda item number 7, the Chancellor's report, and I'll call on Chancellor McNair to provide his report.
Thank you, Chair. Vice Chair. I'm not Matt McNair, NSHE Chancellor for the record. I'm not good at everything, but I'm pretty good at going fast, and so I will try to buy you back some time today. First, I want to thank President Klippenstein because these meetings don't just put themselves together. So thanks to you and your team, Carrie and the board team, and SCS for all of your hard work. Quick couple of personnel updates. I think everybody knows that Chris Fatone, our CFO, is going to be moving to UNLV. It would be hard to overstate Chris's impact for the last couple of years on the legislative session and our efforts there to get funding on preparation for so many important meetings and everything that he has done for the system related to finance and so many other things. And so we are going to miss Chris. So thank you, Chris, for everything that you've done for the system and for me. And we're happy that you're going to be staying at UNLV here in the system. We've filled some important vacancies at system administration recently. Yanata Rubin is now heading up HR, Amy Reyna is heading up operations, and Ryan McNerney is heading up strategic communications. Operational excellence, which I've talked about a lot, is still aspirational for us, but we are moving in the right direction. Chair Brooks and I finished up some listening sessions on each campus here just last month. I know they were valuable for you as a new person still. They were very valuable for me to understand the culture on each of our campuses, the unique strengths and the passion that people have across the state. So it was incredibly enlightening. Some of the recurring themes were financial sustainability, student access, affordability and value, workforce alignment, economic impact, governance and institutional trust, the role of the system office, mission differentiation and coordinated student pathways, and the campus climate. So like I said, it was incredibly valuable for us to hear about each of the campuses and their concerns. So I want to thank everybody for their time because we got to meet with all of the shared governance groups. Looking ahead, externally, I think the most important thing that we do with it, system administration is engage the legislature and get money for our operations. So it's our most important goal this year to build trust with the legislature and come up with a strategy that is coherent for the next legislative session. That involves bringing a unified voice from the system to the legislature while recognizing the unique strengths and assets that we have on each of our campuses and leaning on them, the students, the faculty, and all of you as regents to put together that unified voice for the legislature. Internally, as I mentioned during the listening sessions, one of the issues that came up was institutional trust. And I do think that is my highest priority, is to build trust within the system. I think that's one of the most important things we need to do as a culture if we are going to thrive and create an environment where students are going to thrive. One of the things that's been percolating in the last few weeks as a way to do that is starting a new strategic planning process. I think we can come up with a strategic plan that is more specific to what we need to do as a system, including in system administration, and specific to what we have, the unique strengths that we have here in Nevada. But I think the process will be equally as important because I want to make it very collaborative, and we'll be talking to all of you over the next several weeks about whether this is something that we want to do. But the feedback that I've gotten so far is very positive about the results that it would have if we engage each of the campuses and all of the shared governance groups and the legislature and the executive branch and the business community and donors and parents. We think that we can really build a shared vision for the future. So it seems like that is building momentum. So we'll be talking to all of you about that going forward because I think it's really the most important thing that we are going to do is to create that systemness that people were talking about earlier. And there are a number of important things in the existing plan. I'm not saying that we're going to scrap everything. We'll be kind of starting from scratch, but so many things like access and affordability and student success and so many of the pillars that exist in the plan today, which Regent Carvalho pushed through, so thank you very much for doing that, will surely appear in the new plan. But there are a number of other specific things that I think that we will include, including system administration, why do we exist, healthcare and the role that NSHE plays in healthcare, artificial intelligence, which you heard about today, which is an increasing part of the landscape for higher education, unmanned aerial systems. We have a roadmap for system assets for that that our GOED and LVGA partners are using, and we're hoping to build partnerships for economic and workforce development there. So lots of specific things that I think will probably become part of the plan, but that we'll see once we go through that process. Finally, I want to extend congratulations to the people who were granted tenure, who received the Distinguished Nevadan Awards and the Region Awards. Your service, your scholarship, and your commitment make a big difference for Nevada, so thank you very much. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much for your report, Chancellor. Appreciate it. We'll now move on to agenda item number 8. This is the chair report. President, is Professor Foreman in the room with us? And if, okay, that's okay. So we'll let her know that, that we are saluting her for her remarkable service to the College of Southern Nevada. Professor Foreman joined CSN as a full-time faculty member in the Human Behavior Department on August 21st, 1991. For more than 3 decades, she has taught sociology and human behavior, helping generations of students better understand themselves, their communities, and the world around them. Based at the North Las Vegas campus, Professor Foreman has been known for her commitment to student growth and for encouraging critical thinking in the classroom. Her work reflects the mission of community colleges everywhere, opening doors, challenging minds, and helping students move forward in their lives. In addition to her teaching, she has served the campus community in leadership roles, including as a campus steward for the Nevada Faculty Alliance. On behalf of the Nevada System of Higher Education and the Board of Regents, we thank Professor Linda Foreman for her 34 years of dedication to our students and our community, and we wish her all the best in her well-earned retirement. For sure. President, please extend our gratitude to her when you see her. Something else that we certainly want to acknowledge is a student, Hisoni Johnson, and CSN Videography. Those students were awarded a Student Emmy Award. And so CSN Videograph students won 5 Student Production Emmy Awards from the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Pacific Southwest Chapter after earning 18 nominations across multiple categories. The award-winning work was created under the guidance of CSN Videograph and film professor John Aliano. Is Professor Aliano here? Okay, please extend our gratitude to Professor Aliano and those students. He certainly has highlighted the strength of the college hands-on media production program. So for that professor and those students who earned those awards, we certainly extend our congratulatory remarks to them. I'm glad that during the Chancellor's report, we got to hear a little bit about Chris Fatone and his venturing outside of the system office. And certainly we want to acknowledge the CFO for his work. And so what I'd like to do is just read this, and then I'll present it on behalf of the board to you, Chris. And I know you're an individual who loves attention, and so bear with me just for a second, and then we'll get to the photos, okay? In grateful appreciation of your dedicated service, steadfast leadership, and meaningful contributions to the Nevada System of Higher Education, during your tenure as Vice Chancellor of Budget and Finance and Chief Financial Officer, you provided thoughtful fiscal stewardship, strategic vision, and a deep commitment to transparency and accountability. Your leadership strengthened financial planning, guided complex budget development processes, and supported the long-term stability of Nevada's public colleges and universities. Drawing upon decades of experience in public accounting, higher education finance, and institutional leadership, you brought professionalism, integrity, and collaborative spirit to every initiative. Your service has helped advance education opportunity for students across the state of Nevada and reinforce the system's mission of access, affordability, and excellence. Your contributions have made a lasting and positive impact on the institutions, employees, and communities served by NSHE. With sincere appreciation and best wishes for your continued success in all of your future endeavors, thank you for everything that you've done at the system. Now come on up, Chris. Okay. All right, we're going to move on to agenda item number 9. These are consent items. Number 9B and 9C are going to be pulled, but I'm wondering if there's any regents that would like any other consent item pulled besides 9B or 9C. Okay, so we'll pull 9B, 9C, and 9D. And with that, I'll ask for a motion to, I think those are when we pull those, Regent Carvalho, then we'll do that. Perfect. So is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, wait, I gotta finish what I'm approving. Motion to approve 9A, E through G.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve consent items 9A and then 9D through the rest of them. And it was seconded by Regent Breger.
Correct.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, please signify by saying no or nay. Thank you. We'll move now specifically to agenda item 9B and other disclosures.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I will just make one disclosure for B and C. Pursuant to NRS 281A.420, I'm disclosing a conflict of interest with items 9B and 9C that affect my commitment in a private capacity, in that a family member who is a UNLV graduate student works with a member being considered for the Task Force on Power-Based Violence. Additionally, as I am a UNLV graduate student, I'm working with one of the professors who is currently being considered for tenure today. I have concluded that the independence of judgment of a reasonable person in my situation could be materially affected by these relationships. Therefore, I will be abstaining on items 9B and 9C.
Thank you, Regent Carvalho. Regent Downs, did you want to do a disclosure for 9C?
Yes, Chair. Chair Brooks, I would, I recognize the name on 9B as well, so, but my statement is pursuant to NRS chapters 281A. I hereby disclose that I am an employee of WNC. However, I do not work directly with the person from WNC on 9B, and I do not work directly with the people being considered for tenure. And after consulting with legal, because the independence of judgment of a reasonable person would not be materially affected by my situation, I will vote on this matter.
Thank you, Regent Downs. I'd like to call on Associate Vice Chancellor Renee Davis to give us a little bit of context for 9B.
Thank you, Chair Brooks. Renee Davis for the record. On 9B, I'd like to clarify that Ms. Lindsay Wolterbeek has withdrawn her nomination, and we will request approval for Jose Melendres, Michelle Sposito, Ricardo Salazar, and Adrian Barrera under this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor. Is there a motion to approve 9B? There's a motion by Regent Borland to approve 9B, seconded by Regent Del Carlo. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, please signify by saying no or nay. We'll move on to agenda item 9C. Now that the disclosures have been made, is there a motion to approve 9C?
Motion to approve.
Was that Regent Brown? There was a motion to approve 9C by Regent Brown, seconded by Regent Del Carlo. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, please signify by saying no or nay. Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 9D, and I'll ask Regent, certainly that called for a round of applause, and please excuse me for not giving that space. I was just running through the agenda items, but congratulations to all of those folks. It's fantastic. We'll move to agenda item 9D, and I'll ask Regent Del Carlo.
Thank you, Chair Brooks. I just wanted to, I asked for this to be pulled just to give Frank the recognition he is due. I don't even know if he's here today, but I know he was here. I didn't see him. Oh, darn it. Darn it. Is he here?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. I just want to thank you, Frank, for all you have done for not only CSN, but System Office. I look at you and I just see one word, workforce. You are stellar at it, and I'm glad to know that CSN is still keeping you around to give them advice and counsel and help. So kudos to you, Frank. This is well-deserved.
Yeah, congratulations. Now ask for a motion to approve. Regent Del Carlo? A motion to approve
Sure.
9D?
I make a motion to approve 9D for,
So we have a motion to approve 9D by Regent Del Carlo, seconded by Regent Gokachia. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or yeah.
Aye.
Perfect. Those who, thank you. Those who oppose, please signify by saying no or nay. Thank you. We're going to move agenda item 10 and 11 until tomorrow, unless we have time. We'll come back to that today. And we'll move on to agenda item number 12. This is the Eastside Education and Training Center. And agenda items number 12 and 13 coincide with one another. So I'll just ask President Klippenstein, once you're up there, President, you can feel free. We'll just roll right into the next agenda item because I know that they're tied together. And I'll let you present whenever you're ready.
We have props.
Well, it's after lunch, so big pictures will be nice.
yes. Nice.
All righty, there we go. Chair Brooks, Vice Chair Goodman, members of the board, I'm Stacy Klippenstein, the proud president of CSN, and I'm honored today to share information regarding two important projects. The first, agenda item number 12, is a project that is second of three joint City of Las Vegas workforce and economic accelerators. As you recall, CSN and the City of Las Vegas, with the help of EDA and the GoEd funding, constructed the Westside Education Training Center, or known as WETC, in 2025 and opened the doors last fall. This project is essential for the revitalization of the historic west side of Las Vegas. This spring, we are already seeing hundreds of students receiving entry-level training in advanced manufacturing, logistics and operations, welding, information technology, construction skills, and healthcare, such as dialysis tech training. We are also partnering with the City of Las Vegas Fire and Rescue to offer a credit-based EMT training program and continue to offer basic education for those pursuing a GED while they obtain skilled training certificates, utilizing the ability to benefit provisions of the Department of Education we successfully launched in September of 2025. We owe a great deal of gratitude to Councilwoman Summers Armstrong for her steadfast support and to Dr. Tammy Malich for her work on the EDA grant. Also, the work of the Division of Workforce and Economic Development for CSN, led by Stevan Corbett, has been outstanding. Our big opening is set for April 18th, so please join us. Moving on to this agenda item, the Eastside Education Training Center is our next collaborative project with the City of Las Vegas, and planning is well underway. I thank the City of Las Vegas leadership, the mayor, Dr. Tammy Malich, and our team, especially Frank Woodbeck. I'll say that again, especially Frank Woodbeck, for their assistance with the project. Since the neighborhoods of the historic sections of Las Vegas, the East Side or Ward 3, which are predominantly Hispanic, are within a higher education desert, similar to the historic West Side. We partnered with the city again to replicate the West Side Training Center on the East Side. You get that? West Side, East Side, okay. Within the mixed-use development being developed in the city, or by the city on the former golf course known as Desert Pines, the 99-acre development will have low-income housing, small businesses, and this collaborative training center. This time, we have been asking for $7 million from the EDA and another $10 million from the city and approximately $1.5 million for FF&E from CSN. We will pursue the funding of the FF&E through a congressionally directed spending allocation. CSN will receive 20 a 20-year no-rent lease to operate the center and offer the same entry-level skill training in the workforce sectors noted above with the WETC, and include the basic education and ESL coursework offered at the WETC. The EDA application was approved for $5 million in September of 2025, and the City of Las Vegas has increased its commitment to cover the remaining costs to build the 15,000 square foot Eastside Education Training Center at the intersection of Bonanza and Pesos Roads on the site which currently houses the Desert Pines Golf Course. We are working with the city to complete the design updates and prepare the construction bid process so that we can get underway with the construction as soon as possible. The EDA is awaiting the grant acceptance from NSHE, which is before the board today. Once these processes are completed, we hope to have construction initiated by September of 2026 with the completion and opening on or about September of 2027. For our commitment to the FF&E, we will submit a congressionally directed spending request for the 2027 federal budget. For additional information, I would like to turn the podium over to Dr. Tammy Malich from the City of Las Vegas.
Thank you, Dr. Klippenstein, Chair Brooks, and Regents. It is my pleasure to be here representing the City of Las Vegas. Councilwoman Diaz sends her regrets. She was unable to attend. But as Dr. Klippenstein mentioned, the EDA loved the application that we put forward and the efforts on the Westside Education Training Center, WETC. And so it was an easy sell when they came out. We toured them around the city. It was an easy sell for them to make the award for the ETSI, Eastside Education Training Center. We were using the same footprint, and so we provided renderings for you. It is the same 18,000 square foot building that we already have. As Dr. Klippenstein said, we are already underway, pending approval of this Board of Regents on the grant acceptance. We are planning on going to City Council on April 15th with the design award to the same architect and engineer that did this building, making a few minor tweaks. And then we will, it's a one-year construction based on the work that we've already done. As Dr. Klippenstein mentioned, the city is a dedicated partner. My mayor and council are behind this. We are providing the land. We will provide the covenant to the land for the useful life as required, all the necessary documents to allow CSN to operate. But I think more importantly is we are partners on this pre-operation, post-operation as well. The WETC model, we backwards mapped it and had training programs already going on so that we had a pipeline built. When that facility opened, we had participants ready to go right out into the building because the training programs were already underway. The dialysis training program, community health worker, those programs were already underway. Similarly, we will be doing the very same thing, starting up the pipeline training courses in our East Las Vegas Community Center to get the community excited about this, interested, and start that pipeline of participants. So when this new building opens, we don't have to go find participants. They are already there. We will be far ahead of the other 96 acres of the build out, but that too has been approved and will be, that development agreement has already been approved. And so with that, I can answer any questions if you have any, but respectfully hope that this Board of Regents allows us to continue this fabulous relationship because we aren't done yet. You're going to hear about another fabulous project that is underway.
Thank you very much, Tammy. Just in closing, the ETSI, or Eastside Educational Training Center, will mirror in general those activities of the Westside Education Training Center previously approved by the board, and will be operated in conjunction with the City of Las Vegas. Chair Brooks and members of the board, CSN is seeking board approval for CSN's participation in the ETSI project. Also, board authority provided to the chancellor to accept the EDA grant, to sign the joint use management agreement, to sign the lease agreement, and to execute such other ancillary documents and instruments as necessary to implement any of the foregoing. CSN also seeks board approval for the Chancellor to make non-material modifications to the EDA grant, the Joint Use Management Agreement, and the lease agreement as the Chancellor deems appropriate after consultation with the NSHE Council. We appreciate NSHE's support and thank Michael Wixom for his help on this agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you, President Klippenstein. I know we have some questions for you, and we'll start with Regent Breger.
Not really a question. I just think this is extraordinary, but I would like to just thank Councilman Knudsen has been instrumental in so many things in the city of Las Vegas, and not only the medical arena, but with students and care. And I just want to say thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Regent Brown?
I'd also like to shout out, but I want to shout out Mayor Pro Tem Knudsen for all of the support that you give to our NSHE institutions, especially CSN. I also think that this speaks volumes for the fact that it literally feels like less than a year ago, we were breaking ground on the west side. And we already are trying to duplicate those efforts. And so my only question is, how can we build like 10 more of these? But in all seriousness, I would love to continue to see, you know, all the different programming that is available. And as, you know, I always try and align it with what GoEd is focused on and how we can feed into that, and, you know, the jobs that we're going to be helping and building in. We're bringing in new companies. And so as long as there's some consideration in like the holistic education for the career education, I think that's amazing. But honestly, thank you to the city of Las Vegas. Thank you to the mayor and all the council members, and thank you to CSN and all the staff for making this happen. This is fast, and government does not always work at the speed of business. And I think this is a really good example of, you said, an education desert, and we are filling a need. And I think it's just wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you. Regent Fernandez?
Thank you so much, Chair. And no questions here, but just in general, I do represent the historic West Side and do see the importance of being able to scale something that has been able to show incredible success. And I just know that within the population that it's here to serve, that we are really making a difference within the community. And it's really up the alley of CSN to do that as really the front door to higher education. And so I really want to thank CSN, the partnership with the city of Las Vegas, and the leadership that's taken to get us this far. And Chair, if there aren't any other comments, if I may.
There are, Regent Fernandez. Thank you, though. But I'll make room for that as we get to it. Regent Carvalho?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to echo everything that's been said. I think it's so important that these centers are supported. This truly is meeting our students and our communities literally where they are. And so I really do appreciate that we've used this model and expanded it. I think it's just definitely the right thing to do. I thought it was maybe pronounced Etsy instead of Etsy, but we'll go with Etsy. And I would suggest, it sounds like a children's book with 3 characters named, you know, Wetsy, Etsy, and Metsy over here. So it's kind of funny, these names. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Malik. Thank you, Pro Tem Knudsen, for Mayor Pro Tem Knudsen. Now you've got me flustered over here, Regent Brown. Thank you so much for your support as well. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing all 3 of these projects flourish. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Carvalho. Regent Borland?
Thank you, Chair. I think this is great, and since it's on the east side, like all the kids out there, they usually go east side, so it's my area, and I'd like to beat him up because he said he's going to make the, what were you going to do? The motion, yeah. I got flustered with that. I was going to make the motion, but that's okay. East side, west side, who cares? I am impressed with this, and I hope it's just as successful as I've heard about Nessie, or whatever the Nessie, the thing in Scotland. So we could have one of those on the north side. But thank you so much. Thank you, Chair. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Regent Borland. Vice Chair Goodman?
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge that, Mayor Pro Tem, when you're involved in things, there is just, it seems like bureaucracy does not exist. And so it's just really incredible to be able to affect this kind of change in our community. And I just love the partnership. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Goodman. Regent Bautista?
Yeah, Regent Batista. I just wanted to say this is something that's really needed for East Las Vegas. I live about 1.5 miles away from there, actually. And I was also on the board that Olivia Diaz put together to help organize the redeveloping of the Desert Pines Golf Course. And I teach in the area also. So this is something that we really need for our students. And I'm a big supporter of it. And I'm looking, at the time we didn't know what the education center was going to look like because we talked about it. But now that I know we're talking about CSN being involved, it's something that I really support.
Thank you, Regent Batista. Are there any other comments or questions? Then I'd be looking for a motion for agenda item number 12. And it may be easy to create this motion because it's written inside the paragraph itself.
I did try to summarize it.
Regent Fernandez, is there, maybe you'd like to make a motion?
I really appreciate it, Chair. Yes, thank you so much. I move to approve agenda item 12. And I know there's quite a few provisions here, so I will read them out loud just to make sure that. So agenda item 12, including the following provisions: the approval of CSN's participation in the East Side Education and Training Center project. Number 2, authorization of the Chancellor to accept the Economic Development Agency grant. Number 3, authorization of the Chancellor to sign the joint use management agreement. Number 4, authorization of the Chancellor to sign the lease agreement. 5, authorization for the Chancellor to execute such ancillary documents or instruments as may be necessary to implement any of the foregoing. And 6, approval of the Chancellor to make non-material modifications to the EDA grant, joint use management agreement, and lease agreement as the Chancellor deems appropriate after consultation with NSHE Council.
Thank you, Regent Fernandez. Is there a second? Regent Bautista has seconded the motion. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the Eastside Education and Training Center with all provisions that were just read aloud by Regent Fernandez. This was seconded by Regent Bautista. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, please signify by saying no or nay. Thank you. That motion has been approved. Good job, President Klippenstein.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Board.
And will President Klippenstein,
Yes.
if it's okay, we'll move right into agenda item number 13.
You bet. Thank you very much. Members of the board, Stacy Klippenstein again for the record. Just want to reiterate a few things. These 3 projects that we had, so the WETCs and the ETCs and the METCs and the NETCs next, or the SETC South, we have a lot of things we can do. But with these 3 projects, they very much warm my heart. Being able to come here as the president of the College of Southern Nevada, and if you remember, it was almost exactly 1 year ago today, I was standing in this room, standing at this podium, accepting the position. And I remember during my interview and even prior to hearing about this WETC project, listening to Bill Kibler and Vice President Cota and Stevan Corbett, many of them really have their eyes lit up. But it wasn't just about the projects, it was really about the collaboration with the city. It was really about trying to do something different for our individuals. It was really about trying to take something to the streets, out into the streets. And I think if I remember, I mentioned a year ago when I was standing here that the book called The Great Upheaval, written by Art Levine and Scott Van Pelt, that this work is exactly what that book talks about in higher education. And so it warms my heart to introduce the next project, the METC. So in a reprise of our previous successful plans to partner with the city in building the WETC and the ETC, we have been asked by the city manager to apply for funding to build the Education Training Center in the Las Vegas Medical District, which already houses the University Medical Center, the Valley Hospital, the Kerkorian Medical School, the UNLV Dental School, and several other medical-related offices. Once again, with the amazing support of Mayor, I had it written down as Councilman Knutson, but now I have to say Mayor Pro Tem, thank you very much Mayor Pro Tem, with his outstanding support of this. I probably met now 3, 4, 5 times with him. Our team has met with him, and just his support of the medical district is outstanding. And I know that this is something that he has very much favored and championed over the time, but not just him, but many of the people with the city of Las Vegas. They have set aside a plot of land which will be home to the 4-story, 32,000 square foot training center with a fully functioning child care center on the first floor and classrooms, labs, etc. on the top 3 floors. With this conceptual design, we seek to eliminate the primary obstacle of single parents seeking to start a new career, such as utilizing childcare. This center, which happens to be within and or adjacent to zip codes which show the highest unemployment rates across various demographics and much lower than average workforce participant rates, especially among women in Ward 2. We will concentrate on offering entry-level medical assisting and medical technology training, non-credit and for-credit type training, with a plan to offer internship, apprenticeships, opportunities within walking distance of the medical center. We gathered the necessary letters of support, commitments for the number of employees hired annually by employers residing within and or near the Las Vegas Medical District to add to our application to the EDA, which was submitted in February of 2026. In recent conversations with the EDA project officer during the visit in November of 2025 and on a conference call in February of 2026, it was determined that there is substantial interest in our idea and application. Under this project framework, the EDA will be asked to grant $11,400,000, with the city of Las Vegas committing $17 million, and the FF&E commitment from CSN totaling up to $3 million. The city will commit to covering any construction cost overruns. In the appropriate federal fiscal year planning cycle, CSN will make congressionally directed spending requests once appropriate equipment and furnishings lists have been compiled. To help provide more information and more perspective on this wonderful project, I do ask Mayor Pro Tem Knudsen to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
First off, I prefer Brian, but for the official record, Brian Knudsen, I do represent Ward 1 in the city of Las Vegas, and I appreciate the welcome into your house, but you are in Ward 1 in the city of Las Vegas, so welcome to my ward. This is a real honor and a privilege, and I hope it's not the first time I get to speak to this board, because this is something that is of the utmost importance. You've already heard about the other buildings that the city of Las Vegas is partnering with CSN on, and I appreciate your support for that. We have a good relationship with the city of Las Vegas most of the time with our elected officials, and our motto is, if you can do it, I can do it better. And so the west side, east side, we're going to double that in the medical district, and I am very excited for the opportunity to partner with you and with the Economic Development Agency with the U.S. government, and I do think this is a highly likely chance that this will be funded. But I want to tell you about how I got here, because it is important to our relationship together. When I was elected into office, I ran on improving healthcare. And the city of Las Vegas, because of my investment in healthcare, has put in about $100 million into the medical district. So all of the construction in that area, that's all my fault, all of it. I take responsibility if you've had flat tires, if you've gotten stuck in traffic, that's all me. It's about $100 million of investment of sewers and power lines undergrounded and new roads and new sidewalks. That's all because we want to make sure it's a healthy environment for healthcare professionals. I know that because I lived at UMC for about a month with a very sick child, and I listened to the doctors, I listened to the nurses. Many of them went to your institutions. And it wasn't just doctors and nurses, it was the phlebotomists that come in every single morning at 6 a.m. to draw blood. It was the x-ray techs that come in and take an x-ray 3 days a week of your baby's lungs. I was at San Martin campus as well, and we experienced the same level of exhaustion for medical care workers because we simply aren't producing enough in our community. And so in the city of Las Vegas, we created a priority. We do have 3 priorities in the city of Las Vegas with our strategic plan. One of those is healthcare. And while we went about investing in the infrastructure of the medical district, I quickly realized that we weren't going to be able to improve access and quality of healthcare without investing heavily in higher education. And so that is the reason we're here today, I'm here today, is to commit the city of Las Vegas and our support for higher education institutions so that we can continue to impact the quality and access to healthcare. I'm here only really to talk about the METSI, and the acronyms I did not come up with. I would have come up with something much cooler. But we have the METSI, and I'm really, really proud of the METSI because it does offer that opportunity for those certificate and those associate degree programs who are ultimately desperately needed in the healthcare field. And we want to grow the medical district to be the training ground for all healthcare professionals in Nevada. In addition, when I was in the hospital, a lot of the nurses had just come off of COVID, and so they were retiring quickly. We had a lot of new nurses coming in and new healthcare professionals, and they were having babies. And I realized quickly that the reason they were exiting the workforce very quickly after coming into the workforce is because there was no childcare opportunities for them. And so I'm really proud of the fact that the city of Las Vegas recognized that childcare is equally as important for healthcare access. And so that is why I'm here today, is because my kid was sick in the hospital, and I got to intimately familiar with what those medical professionals needed, and they need you. I need you. The city of Las Vegas needs our higher education institutions to produce as many medical professionals as you can, and I'm here to commit the city of Las Vegas to investing in our future together. The NSHE building is a bigger building than the west side and the east side. It'll be 4 stories. It's on the corner of Shadow and Wellness, which is right in between the dental school and the medical school for UNLV. It's right down the street from University Medical Center, Valley Hospital, a new lab that's going in right now, and I can guarantee you that there'll be apartment complexes and restaurants and things that those students and those employees can enjoy in the future, adding to our economy, which again adds to the economic diversification, which we all talk about. So with that, I am incredibly grateful for the time here today. I'm incredibly grateful for your support of the City of Las Vegas investment and look forward to coming before you many more times. And Chair, I'm open for questions.
Thank you. We appreciate your presentation. We appreciate you being here, and we certainly appreciate the collaboration. Are there any regents with questions? Regent McGrath?
It's not really a question, it's more kudos. Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem Knudsen, for ushering this through and really for recognizing the need for access to childcare. It's phenomenal what you've done, and I'm sorry it's information only because I wish we could vote on it right now. But thank you again for all of your hard work.
Thank you.
Regent Del Carlo?
Yes, I want to thank the city of Las Vegas, I'm losing my voice, CSN, and this is a win-win-win, students, city, higher ed. And when this is all said and done, and you're still a president, and even if you're not, I'd love to see this college put in a bellwether award, because this is a home run for workforce. Really, you guys deserve a national award for what you're doing, and this is over time, but what a life changer for the students. And I love, somebody already said it, but we're taking it to them. They don't have to come to us. It's where the need's the greatest, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Regent Del Carlo. Are there any other regents with questions or comments? There are none. Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you for all the work that you've done, President Klippenstein. We appreciate the presentation.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 14, the athletic reports. These reports will be from UNLV, UNR, NSU, CSN, and TMCC. And I will kick this over to Interim President Chris Heavey to get this report process started. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Chair Brooks. Interim President Chris Heavey, for the record. I'm here with my terrific athletic director, Eric Harper, who will fill you in on the great success that we're having in the field of athletics, especially in training leaders and amazing student athletes who are doing great things on the competitive field and in the classroom as well. A.D. Harper.
Thank you, Dr. Heavey. Eric Harper, for the record, Director of Athletics, UNLV, HARPER. Good afternoon to the members of NSHE Board of Regents, Chair Brooks, Vice Chair Goodman, and Chancellor McNair. Thank you for the opportunity to provide a summary of highlights of UNLV athletics during the 24-25 academic year. Thank you to CSN for hosting us this week. On behalf of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas Athletics Department and over 480 student athletes, I am pleased to submit the UNLV Intercollegiate Athletics Annual Report for the 24-25 academic year. This report highlights our department's progress in advancing academic achievement, competitive excellence, fiscal responsibility, and the overall well-being of our student athletes. And most importantly, the #1 priority priority is the student-athlete experience. UNLV Athletics continues to advance its mission of developing champions in the classroom, in competition, and in the community. As a proud member of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and competitor in the Mountain West Conference, our department remains committed to excellence while optimizing the holistic student-athlete experience. During the 2024-25 academic year, UNLV student-athletes continued to demonstrate the importance of high academic performance, competitive achievement, and community engagement, while reflecting strong alignment with the strategic priorities of UNLV and NSHE. UNLV Athletics remains committed to supporting the mission of NSHE and UNLV by providing meaningful educational opportunities through athletics while representing the institution with integrity, grit, and pride. During the past year, UNLV Athletics student-athletes achieved impressive academic milestones, marking the 15th and 16th consecutive semesters in which they maintained a cumulative grade point average of 3.0 or better, as well as continuing an 80+% graduation success rate for the 5th straight year. This demonstrates a strong commitment by our student-athletes to education and graduating while balancing the demands of Division I competition and everything that life throws at them. As part of the academic excellence, multiple teams posted semester GPAs of 3.0 or better, 18 to be exact, and the final program was at 2.96, just 0.04 short of a cumulative 3.0 for all of our programs. 77.9% of our student athletes achieved a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or better, maintained consistent track for graduating, in some cases less than 3.5 years, and UNLV had a total of 194 student athletes on the Mountain West All-Academic Team, 80 in the fall and 114 in the spring. For the first time in school history, UNLV had 3 first-team academic All-Americans in Jackson Woodard, Ricky White III, and Jalen Catalan in Rebel football, and that requires a 3.0 or better GPA as graduate students. Woodard took it a step further and became the Mountain West Male Scholar Athlete of the Year. In addition, Jackson Woodard was also first in UNLV football history to be named a National Football Foundation National Scholar. Postgraduate placement and professional development continues to be a focus for UNLV. And we continue to build on the Diana Bennett Empower Her program, designed with tools and resources for our women's sports to prepare for life after sport in their respective professional careers. On the competitive side, UNLV competed in the 2nd straight Mountain West Football Championship game, 2nd straight bowl game for the first time in school history. The Lady Rebel basketball team won its 4th straight regular season championship and competed in postseason for the 4th straight season. Conference championships in Lady Rebel basketball, women's golf, men's swim and dive, track and field boasted a double winner in the 100 and 200 meters, and also won the 4x1 relay. Football was a runner-up in the Mountain West, and women's swim and dive was also a runner-up in the Mountain West Championship. Multiple postseason appearances by our teams. Many individual student athletes earned all-conference and national recognition and continued national visibility for many of our programs. Our football and basketball programs remain central to institutional visibility and community pride, while Olympic sports continue to demonstrate sustained competitiveness by winning championships in the classroom and in competition and in the community. This success has encouraged our donors to invest in many new endowments. Of those endowments, we have now gone in FY24 an endowment payout of $690,000 to a projected $1.1 million in FY26. And we have added over the last year $10.5 million in endowment. On the community side, UNLV student athletes in 2024-25 won the Mountain West SAC Community Service Award, contributing over 13 service hours to the community through Nevada Reading Week, Goody Two Shoes, Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and the UNLV Food Pantry. Student athletes actively support initiatives aligned with the educational access, health awareness, and community development. Optimizing the student athlete experience through strategic investments through academic and career development, health and wellness, facilities and infrastructure, and name, image, and likeness. Our goal is to ensure every UNLV student athlete graduates and is prepared for life beyond sport, equipped with skills, professional readiness, and personal resilience. UNLV Athletics continues to operate with a focus on fiscal responsibility, transparency, strategic resource allocation, maximizing revenue generation, strategic donor engagement, and responsible scholarship distribution. Our approach focuses on sustainability while preserving competitive integrity and student support excellence. As part of Thomas & Mack, we've continued to have over 1 million visitors to the Thomas & Mack Center, 200 events annually, and another 200 standalone catering events per year. A range of events from sports to corporate meetings and retreats. Looking ahead, UNLV Athletics is positioned for continued growth, strategic priorities for the upcoming years. Enhancing donor engagement, revenue generation current and new, elevating academic performance benchmarks, and increasing postseason competitiveness with assist in fundraising. In conclusion, UNLV Athletics remains committed to developing leaders who excel academically, compete with integrity, and serve their community with pride. Through strategic investment, student-centered programming, and responsible stewardship, we continue to elevate the student-athlete experience while advancing the mission of the university and NSHE. We appreciate the continued support of the Nevada System of Higher Education, Chancellor McNair, and President Dr. Hebe, and we look forward to building upon last year's success.
Thank you very much. It sounded like that was the conclusion.
That was the conclusion, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any regents with questions or comments for the athletic director? I don't see any. I will just say it's,
Chair Brooks, I do.
Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead, Regent Arascata.
No worries. I was respecting the dais down there in Las Vegas prior to jumping in. Thank you very much, Chair Brooks. A.D. Harper, good to see you up on the podium. A.D., quick question for you. Just how much money does UNLV expect to receive from the Mountain West owed exit fee, the poaching penalties? And what is the timeline to acquire those finances?
Eric Harper for the record. Regent Arascata, at this time, is still pending litigation, and I am not permitted to discuss that publicly due to the litigation that is pending and the discovery phase at this point in time.
Okay. I just have a couple questions, Chair Brooks. A.D. Harper, University of Nevada, Las Vegas Athletics reported a $37.2 million in self-generated revenue for fiscal 24. It's on page 28. And a $38.9 million in self-generated revenue. Once again, still on page 38 of your report, 28, excuse me, of report. But that's a $1.7 million increase, but somehow it went from a $21 million deficit to a $2.5 million surplus. And I'm just trying to figure out how you wipe off $21 million. That's a $24 million turnaround.
Well, on Eric Harper for the record, on that report, Regent Arascata, the Nevada System of Higher Education report is a cash-based report. The NCAA report is an accrual-based report, and that accrual-based report also includes trade, gift in kind, as well as all revenues through the Thomas & Mack Center that are generated for a UNLV running Rebel basketball game, as well as a Lady Rebel basketball game that occurs in the pavilion or in the Thomas & Mack Center. And there's also what they call a GASB adjustment, which is Governmental Accounting Standards Board, is what I'm told. So those are the four things that attribute to a number that is on a accrual basis and not a cash basis. And one additional thing on that is when we travel to the University of Hawaii in the Mountain West, there is a $175,000 subsidy. That subsidy did not come in a cash perspective until the subsequent calendar year, but it's accrued in this 24-25. It was accrued in that particular year. So that is added in there. So any accrual or accounts receivable will be added into that. So there's where those numbers add up to.
Okay, I'll look at that report. I'll definitely put a closer eye on that report. But online, on that same page, on page 28, and despite this year's surplus, it's right there on page 28, it's in the shaded blue line, there is still a $26.7 million deficit. What is the plan to get that paid off?
Once Eric Harper for the record, once as we said initially with the Mountain West, once those funds start to materialize themselves, we will start aggressively trying to reduce that deficit. And then anytime that we have a positive number in a cash-based system, we will apply that towards the deficit as well. And we're working with Dr. Hebe on a sustainable plan moving forward.
And if I could add a little bit to A.D. Harper's comments there, Regent Arascata, thank you for that question. And it's something that CFO Bunkowski, A.D. Harper, and I have discussed. And the reality is that we do anticipate there will be some monies that will come to the university in relation to the exit fees, as you noted, once that lawsuit finally reaches settlement. But it probably will not be sufficient to pay off the full deficit that's there. And so we're looking at institutional strategies to absorb some of the deficit that accrued. And the deficit was really due to low levels of institutional support during those years that was incommensurate with the levels of spending. Now, as you've noted, we've been adding more institutional support, so we're not actually accruing any additional deficit. So we will basically go back as an institution and probably erase at least half of that deficit with our institutional funds, and then use some of the funds that come from the eventual settlement, which could actually be years away, to handle the rest of that. But we're actively working on the strategy so that number doesn't just linger there for future years. Thank you.
But President Hebe, respectfully, my concern for UNLV Athletic is, what if that money does not materialize? That could be a major issue.
Thank you for the question, Regent Arascata. Yes, so we, as I noted, our plan is basically to develop a plan to erase half of that deficit in the near future, and then wait to see as this lawsuit matures. We do anticipate, some revenue from that, and this is a shared situation with University of Nevada, our sister institution, and us. And so we'll navigate that together. If no funds materialize, then we'll look at how to resolve institutionally the second half of that deficit that's sitting there. We, obviously are a large institution and we can manage these things. We will have to, be careful about how we do it, and it might take a few years, but we have the funds that we could use to resolve that sitting deficit so it doesn't just linger indefinitely. Thank you.
Would that be by infusing additional institutional support into athletics rather than campus?
Yes, we would, yes, Interim President Hebe, yes. The answer to that question is yes. We would be looking at using some institutional discretionary funds to resolve that past deficit. And as A.D. Harper noted, we're bringing on a consultant to develop a plan for making sure that we are being more sustainable in a going forward basis. And, A.D. Harper could speak about some of the things they've already done. We're instituting, for example, regional travel schedules for some sports teams, so we minimize our travel costs. We don't have to fly athletes all over the country, those kinds of things, looking at all the ways that we can reduce the ongoing expenditures to make them more in line with revenue.
Pragmatic approach, please. A couple more items. Last item, thank you very much, Chair Brooks. But so from what I was doing a comparison is, the UNLV audited NCAA finances. Those were widely reported by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and up here in the north through Nevada Sports Net. List the expenses in 24 as 81 million, and in 25 as 74 million. But it appears that facilities operations decreased by 3.4 million, while the overhead decreased by 4.2. But there are some increases in salaries. But can you share how you decrease was determined with facilities operations, overhead, and equipment. You had a great report in there, A.D. Harper, about how you were able to reduce some of the facility operations, a lot of the overhead, and some of the equipment. But can you expand on some of those for us?
Eric Harper for the record, UNLV. We have taken the approach of a lot of things are done internally with our current staff from an operational perspective versus outsourcing those deals. So over time, as we move forward, we're able to do all types of things internally, from plumbing to electrical to painting to all of those things that are on the operational side. And then we've also when we've lost staff on the operations side, because that affects the operations as well, we've maintained just either an hourly staff versus putting in and hiring an FTE. So we've just we mix and match in a way to minimize our expenses on the various different things that you've talked about, and over time it grows in savings.
Totally understandable. One of the items that I just clicked off your report, unfortunately, one of the items I remember on your report was a decrease in equipment, a decrease in expenses with equipment. Have you all reduced the investment into safety equipment, shoulder pads, neck braces, helmets?
For the record, Eric Harper, Regional Scholar, thanks for that question. No, we have not. What we've done is we've been able to be more efficient in that space. And in some cases, as we have, you mentioned the equipment side, in some spaces, and you look at also with coaches, some coaches require different things, but it's from a health and safety perspective, we have not taken any back, not changed anything on that. We actually, if anything, we've increased our health and safety aspects of what we do. But certain coaches, when it comes to equipment, certain coaches like this apparatus, and certain coaches like other apparatus. And we've also done a good job of managing the things that we have. And instead of, can take now just from a simple perspective, instead of purchasing weights, we can, for on the fields, in those particular workouts, so we can take different items, putting sand and water in those, that helps the student athletes from a standpoint of balancing. And that cost is much, much less than rolling out a whole entire new dumbbell rack.
So true. Yeah, but that also applies to women's athletics with volleyball, softball, swimming, the whole nine.
Yes, sir. Thanks for that. We have also managed with those as well, and we've also been able to do some things with our equipment that helps all of our student athletes across the board. All of our student athletes go through the same exact equipment person that oversees our equipment, which is Tasha Smith, and she does a great job of managing the things that coaches need. And in some cases, we've been able to get some gift-in-kind donations, i.e. a red light therapy bed, and also some other like bicycles, stationary bicycles, and those particular things. And our sports medicine and sports science space has also helped us in respects to being able to be more efficient, but also making sure that we always stay number one with our student athlete experience as well as our health and safety.
Fantastic, A.D. Harper. Thank you for your time today. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Regent Downs, I didn't know if you had any questions for A.D. Harper or not.
Chair Brooks, thank you for the opportunity. No, I do not have questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Regent Fernandez?
Thank you, Chair. And I just had a quick clarifying question on the report here. I know the last meeting where we discussed student access, and my understanding was that of the access funds provided through tuition, so on and so forth, that access funds were not used in athletics, and I do see an $820,000 access fund, so just wanted to get a clarification on, is this different access? And I know there's similarly named accounts, so just wanted to get that.
Yeah, thank you, Regent Fernandez, for that question. It turns out both of my answers were correct, yes and no. Initially it said yes because I knew we provide $810,000. Actually, it was initially listed at $820, but it's actually $810,000 that we provide in student fee access. It turned out that someone who was listening carefully said that the question had been for state access, which is a different fund, which was not the fund that was, I don't think anyone understood that we were talking about. And the answer to that question is no, we do not use any state access funds. So in the way that the question was taken by most of the people in the room, my initial answer was correct, yes. And I think I said at that time 800,000, but someone clarified that the question, if you go back and look at it, was actually state access funds, which is a much smaller amount, and we don't use any of those. So it was a little bit confusing, and sorry for that confusion. And I think CFO Vitone could chime in here about the difference between those two accounts if people wanted to understand more of those details. Thank you.
Vice Chair Goodman.
Thank you. With all due respect, I mean, it's a significant amount of debt, and I'm just wondering who's balancing the budgets over. Does athletics do it? Does the CFO do it? Like, where does the responsibility lie for this? I mean, it's unfortunate to have to, and it sounds like you're. Well, I'll start with that question.
Eric Harper, for the record. We work directly with the Central Campus CFO office. I've worked very closely with Elise Bunkowski over the past year, and we do the budgets internally, and then we forward them to the CFO office for review, and we do whatever we can and within our full power to raise and generate the revenues for those expenses that we do have. And some of those expenses, like for instance, medical, is completely out of the control, and those numbers go up on a regular basis, as well as nutrition and those particular things. But what we've tried to do moving forward is do some specific fundraising, as reported out that we did get a $10 million gift for an endowment on nutrition, and that will help us in managing those moving forward, because that money comes every single year, of course, from an endowment. So we're focusing on things like that to manage those numbers moving forward.
Great. And so when you say that you submit those numbers to the CFO, are those numbers, I guess my question is, like, is there a checks and balance? Like, is the CFO that's in, that's the institution CFO, do they have access to the numbers in the athletics department? Or is the CFO person just submitting numbers and then that's what they go from? I'm just wondering if there's some kind of collaboration there where they can get in there and see what's, all right, because it's unfortunate that they got this bad.
If I could comment, Regent Goodman, thank you for your question. And what I would say is, over this past year, we've had quite a bit of transition in how we've managed this. And so in the summer, I changed the reporting structure, whereas it had previously been that the CFO reported to the athletic director. The CFO of athletics reported to the athletic director. I had changed it so the CFO of athletics reported to the university CFO. That was began basically in the fall, and it was sort of melding two teams, and we were working through that process, and now the athletic CFO recently decided to leave and take another position. And so I think what we've done is created a process where it will be much more streamlined now, so there will be no ambiguity about who is responsible for this or clarity about the information. So I feel good about kind of where we're at on a going forward basis. But this past year has been a year of transition in how that was managed. And so I believe will pay dividends. The other comment I would have is that, ultimately we do have to set budgets based on the types of expenses that are going to be necessary to run Division I athletic programs, and with the revenue being somewhat uncertain. And so, for example, this year we were disappointed to see that our football attendance was down. And you could talk to A.D. Harper for a long time about specific things that happened, including things like UCLA had a blowout loss the week before that they played us, so the fans didn't come to Allegiant at nearly the numbers that would have been expected, and so a few other kind of aberrations. And so essentially the spending plan is out there, the revenue plan is uncertain. And so those are the kinds of things we're really looking at adjusting on an ongoing basis. And again, we're going to bring in a consultant to look at the sustainability of these to make sure that ultimately we create a athletics program that the university matches the university's capacity to support it.
Great, thank you. And if I may, Chair, I have another question. It looks like your NIL fundraising is fairly robust, and I guess that's just going straight to NIL, right? And it's almost equivalent to what your actual athletic department fundraising is. How does the NIL fundraising compare to other institutions in the Mountain West?
Eric Harper for the record, UNLV. Depends on the institution. Like right now, anything that you see for UNLV on NIL as well as rev share has come specifically from donors that are interested in that space. We try to encourage them to participate in both spaces, but in some cases they don't, and they want to stick in that space. I would say we're in the top 3 within the Mountain West Conference as it relates to those numbers. But then there's sometimes that people aren't reporting the accurate numbers as well. And that's a historic around the country right now.
Okay, and then my final is an idea, and I've shared this with President Hebe, but I think it's ridiculous that we pay Allegiant $350,000 every game, and it would be really great if we could work something out where they give a donation back to the university at the end of the year. So maybe we need to work on our friends over at the Las Vegas Raiders on that one.
Thank you. I met with them this week, actually.
Regent Breger.
Thank you very much, and I meant to ask this in the briefing, so I apologize. And it's not a large amount of money, but the Sam Boyd money for $5 million. It was going to go into a fund, and we were going to help girls' sports because they really don't get as much as the guys, and I understand that that's just still life, unfortunately, and I won't say how many years later from when I played sports. But where are we with that, and are we using any of that to utilize the sports department?
Eric Harper for the record. President Hebe did transfer that over into athletics to support athletics, and we're utilizing it to cover a lot of the things that we do. I couldn't drive $1 exactly to it, but it has been transferred over.
But my question is directly women's sports. Did any of it go to women's sports? And if you can get back to me on that, I don't want to put you just, I know you can't have every number and every item in your head, and I respect that. But I would like an absolute direct answer to the women's sports because I know what was said in this meeting, and I want it held to that because it's unfortunate that we are still this many years later, and I will say it, I haven't been in high school in over 60-some years, and we're still fighting for women's sports. And so I feel very serious about that.
Interim President Hebe, for the record, ultimately, as A.D. Harper said, we used it for ongoing expenses. There had been a discussion about creating a quasi-endowment with those funds for women's sports. As we've discussed in this meeting, we're looking for sustainability, and so those dollars were available to manage ongoing expenses, many of which are for women's sports. And it'll say that absolutely A.D. Harp and I are committed to the success of the women's sports. We just had an amazing event raising a lot of NIL money for our women's basketball team about 2 weeks ago. And so we're making sure that we're doing everything that we can to make sure our women's sports have the resources they need to be successful. But we did not carve that money out specifically to put only into women's sports. The reality is... And
I'm going to interrupt for a minute. I don't mean the $5 million for women's sports, but I was specifically told in a meeting here that money from that, not other monies, but specifically some of that money would be able to be banked to where it could benefit women's sports. So we'll just leave it at that for now because I don't want it to be I don't want it to be a negative thing, but I just feel strong about that. And that's what was said, and I don't want to have to go pull up that item. And it doesn't matter who's in leadership, and it's unfortunate if one person is there and makes a commitment and the commitment is not fulfilled. I don't know what we do about that because that's just where we're at. And this is a question, I don't want you to think, this is not just for UNLV. I feel like that for UNR, NSU, CSN, TMCC. I want to know how women's sports are being taken care of because they're a viable point of our society. And it is actually proven that women that go into sports in middle, high school, and college excel better in life. And I want them to have all those opportunities. So that's to everybody. You've all heard me. And I unfortunately have to leave at 5 to 4. And if the other meeting hadn't been 3 hours long, I wouldn't have to leave early. So that's just how I feel about that. It's known in this meeting. And I'm hoping all of you will have something that you can do that benefits our women so that our youth might want to come to any of our colleges. Because now some of those women are going other places because of what they can get in scholarships and things. So I'll leave it at that. But it's all based on the money. I'm not trying to get onto a different subject, but it's all based on the money that comes there.
Thank you, Regent Breger. Are there any other questions from Regents? Regent Arascata.
Thank you, Chair Brooks, for letting me do my best impression of Columbo. For anyone in the room this old, you'll remember Columbo. But a quick question, and that's, Regent Fernandez brought up a great point regarding access funds, because it appears UNLV has tuition waivers to the tune of $3.7 million and access funds of $800,000. But I'm doing a side-by-side of the athletic reports, and I know I'm going to touch upon this with AD Remp, but the University of Nevada has a $2.8 million in tuition waivers and no access funds. So how does UNLV Athletics determine the amount of waivers and access funds that are directed to athletics?
UNLV, Eric Harper for the record. When I took over in this seat, those numbers were already coming in on the access funds. How that was initially determined, I can't answer that question, but I can do some research with Elise Wankowski and possibly Chris Fatone as well and get a better answer for you. So.
Okay.
Is there?
I'd really appreciate it.
Sorry, Regent Arascata, I was just going to ask, just for time's sake, is there anyone that might be able to field that question that's here already with us? And if not, AD Harper, that's okay. But I thought if we can address it while the question's being posed, that's probably faster.
Hi, Elise Bunkowski, interim CFO at UNLV. AD Harper is correct. These were very old central commitments that were established prior. I believe the $3.7 million in fee waivers actually goes back to an old letter of intent with the state, probably from 2012. And the internal access funds, Regent Arascata, was also an internal commitment that was made between the previous CFOs, 2 CFOs ago, and the AD at the time. So we've just kept them standard across, we haven't changed them.
Is that going to be continuing, or will that be discontinued?
We do plan for it to continue right now in order to not cause further strain on the athletics budget.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that you were finished, Regent Arascata. Was there anything else that you're done? Okay, thank you. Just to follow up with on Regent Arascata's question, in terms of those funds, is there, I know that it's continuing right now, not to, the way you phrased it was disrupt the finances really with athletics, but what does that look like in the next 4 years, 5 years? I mean, when does some of that get pulled back? Or does it not, and this is just the permanent state of finance with athletics?
Interim President Chris Heavey. I would say that goes back to what I mentioned a few minutes ago, is that we're bringing in a consultant and really looking at what does sustainability look like in this space. And as I said, these are somewhat unpredictable because we're trying to guess at some outcomes like what is going to be revenue. We're looking at all the different sources of revenue we have. As was mentioned, Allegiant Stadium is a major issue, the waterfall. was created in a bill that runs out in 2030. We're looking at that. It wasn't indexed to inflation. There's a lot of detailed information that we're kind of trying to sort through. We're going to bring in an external consultant. And so I think it will be part of that whole big picture that will be examined about what is a sustainable structure. And as I discussed with Regent Arascata in our earlier conversation before this meeting, what is the ROI that we're getting from the institution in terms of the performance, visibility, the advertising, all the kind of non-monetary benefits that are coming from having highly visible athletic programs now that have been, very successful and in the national conversation, with 3 bowls, games in a row, and, other kinds of things that bring indirect benefits to the institution.
Thank you, President Heavey. I appreciate that clarity to it. And so it appears that while there is recognition of some things that can be changed, the work is being done currently to change those things, and it's just a matter of time before things, I'll say, are a little bit more smoother with the finances and budget for athletics. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Thank you, President Heavey. And A.D. Harper, the aside from right now dominating football and basketball, what I think is really impressive with athletics over at UNLV, which I don't think gets addressed or talked about enough, is the support that student athletes have who may not continue on to an NFL or the NBA or play pro ball somewhere, but they're being set up for success in various levels through various types of mentorship that are specifically designed at UNLV to make these athletes successful once they graduate and they leave the campus. If you want to talk to, a few minutes on that, I think it would be great to shine a light on some of those positive things that are happening.
Thank you, Eric Harper, for the record. Thank you, Regent Brooks, Chair Brooks. We spend an incredible amount of time working with our student athletes from a career development perspective. We do one in particular that we're really proud of is what we've done with the Empower Her program with Dinah Bennett's endowment on the career development side. But we also bring in financial literacy people to speak with our student athletes on financial literacy. I have set up at times when student athletes want to come and spend basically an 8-week program through athletics as an internship, so they get an opportunity to spend a week in fundraising. They get an opportunity to spend a week with the marketing team. They get a week with the ticketing office. They get a week during NBA Summer League behind the scenes to see what promoters go through. And then they also get an opportunity, unfortunate opportunity, to sit with me a few of those times to go through some things, but to getting them to understand what it is and what they're trying to do with life after sport. And we spend a lot of time pushing that with them, and they give us the feedback as to what they're looking for, and we try to, I think the statement was made earlier, meet them where they are. And that's been something that's been very, very positive. I should say recently, in the fall semester, I had 2 of our Lady Rebels basketball players reach out to me to come and sit down and talk about what they could do and what they wanted to do after they finished their playing career. And I'm very happy to say both are going to be finishing up with their graduate degrees, and one will be wants to go into sports. At what area she wasn't just certain of, but having that opportunity to sit down with those young ladies was very special and very, very promising to see that. And then also recently I received a call from a donor that said a student athlete took some information that we had provided through a financial literacy program and reached out to this VP of a finance company and says, I have some money now. I want to understand what I need to do with it so I don't blow it. And those are things that we've preached to our student athletes, and they're taking advantage of those opportunities, and it's really pleasing to see that. And see that also those that have left and come back and say, I made a mistake. I want to understand a little bit more about what you guys do, and also, can I come shadow someone on the staff? And all of our staff is very open to allowing our student athletes to shadow them and learn about this industry, as well as determine whether they can participate in another industry. I know you were at the SAG Awards last spring for our student athletes, and I know they appreciated that opportunity to speak with you as well.
Well, thank you, Eddie Harper. We appreciate the report, and What I'd like to let everyone know is that there are some snacks that have arrived, and so we'll take a 5-minute administrative break. Thank you. All right, I hope everybody enjoyed those few minutes of getting something to snack on and standing up and stretching, but we are on a time schedule, so we want to keep moving, and we're going to go right into University of Nevada, Reno's athletic report. And so I'll ask President Sandoval if there is somebody that you'd like to direct that report to provide to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, Brian Sandoval, President of the University of Nevada in Reno. I'd like to introduce Stephanie Remp, our Athletic Director, for your.
Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, Board of Regents. Stephanie Remp, Athletic Director at the University of Nevada, for the record. So thank you for the opportunity to present to you. I will keep my remarks short. Everything that I will go over and plenty of additional information is on the board report that you all have. But a couple of quick things to mention is our two Mountain West championships last year. Softball set a bunch of records. We had 2 coaches of the year, 2 players of the year, and a freshman of the year on a variety of sports. And then Aaliyah Jenkins we had, who not only was the Mountain West Player of the Year, but she was a Division I softball All-American and also was our first female athlete to receive the Scholar Athlete Award for the Mountain West Conference. In addition, we had 88 student athletes graduate last year. 12 of our teams had over 3.0s, and our women's golf, this is remarkable, a 3.898 GPA for our women's golf team. So 21 straight semesters with over a 3.0 for all of our student athletes, and our highest rate ever was a 3.28 in the spring of 25. 5 programs got perfect 100% GSR rates, and then our GSR rate overall was 89%, which is pretty significant. Facilities are, thanks to all of you, the field house is going and it's moving along. The steel arrived this week, and it's going to be an absolutely fantastic facility. On Monday night, we're going to, actually this isn't the last year's report, but it is current, especially on one of the comments earlier, but on Monday night, we're going to be flipping on the lights for our softball program because they won the conference championship and that allows us to host the conference championships this year, and so we needed lights, and so that has happened, which has been pretty exciting. We also have movement at the GSR for the arena that is happening, and we announced that last year, in addition to some work at our baseball stadium. Community support, we continued our efforts with building Nevada's college town. Our student athletes and our coaches do a tremendous job out in the community. Our fundraising and external efforts are on the rise, and we continue to invest in the health and wellness and development of our student athletes with a lot of programming to make sure our student athletes are having a well-rounded experience. So we will continue to grow our revenue and contain our expenses and continue to invest in our student athletes. And so with that, I will open up to questions for anybody who has any.
Thank you. I appreciate the expediency in which you delivered that report to us. Are there any regents who have questions? Regent Brown.
Thank you. Regent Brown for the record. So this will be my 4th time seeing these operating budgets for athletics. And, you know, I really appreciate the slide 27, doing a look back at some of the annual reports. It makes it easier than having to go back and forth and looking year over year. But I do want to just talk about the transfers in and see if we can get a little bit of information on that. I mean, I see the lift from 25 to 26 is about 2.7 more year over year. And I know when I spoke with President Sandoval, that has a lot to do with COLA. But I am curious, what is the plan, if anything? I mean, if you look at the next 5-year projection, it'll be 18 million plus each year. And so is this just the what we should expect to see in budgets in perpetuity?
I think that's a fair statement. I also think it's important to understand where we were as an athletics department before President Sandoval arrived. And the conference did comparisons of all the schools in the league and looked at where the investment was, and we were at the bottom. And when President Sandoval was hired, and then when he hired me, a commitment was made to get us to the median of the conference for campus support, because we were at the bottom, and the results showed. And so President Sandoval has done, obviously, an absolutely remarkable job in terms of elevating everything within athletics, a lot of focus on our women's teams and a lot of our facilities, and then continuing to get us to where we are in the median so we can compete for championships. And then we're doing our part on the self-generating side. But I think it's also important to know that we're still at the median, and the median is always 2 years behind. And I think we're about $10 million, $9 million less than the investment from campus support from UNLV.
Yeah, and I appreciate the comparison, and I've brought this up before. I know that we want parity in our athletics, but really, if you look at the investment that the institutions are making, I look at it as these are, state dollars and student fees, and that's how we operate. And so if I'm really looking at a school's investment, I'm going to look at the total number of students divided by the investment, and then that's how I calculate this. And if that's how I do it, UNR is still significantly more per student in its investment just because you don't have as many students, right? So I get we want to compare the two schools. I just don't think that that's a fair assessment, which is why I didn't do it. But I am just curious, I know men's basketball is the big revenue leader for your athletics. Is that correct?
Yes.
When you guys move to the arena, will that change as far as the tickets, how much money you make from tickets? I know you'll probably sell more tickets, but I don't know what that will look like. For instance, if we are comparing, we don't get the same revenue that we did at Sam Boyd with Allegiant, and UNLV doesn't. So I was just curious what that would look like with the GSR arena.
So I think a couple things, and tell me if I'm answering your question. And it's an interesting perspective on the number of students. I think that's interesting. A student athlete, same number of student athletes, same number of sports, I think is also important. But understanding the number of students on campus is a valuable piece of information from that perspective. And then in terms of the arena, similar to when UNLV went to their stadium to Allegiant, the new arena will have a lot more opportunities for premium spaces. And so by doing that, it will absolutely elevate our revenue. It's not necessarily because the tickets are going to be that much more expensive, because it's very important that we keep them a reasonable price compared to what they're playing right now. We will have so many more tickets that are at the higher price, because you have club seats and access to suites and loge boxes and all those types of things that they have at Allegiant. And so it will be similar. So yes, we are expecting our revenue to increase.
Yeah, and that the arena is going to be amazing. I know you guys don't have suites at Lawler, and so that will be a huge uptick for just your fans. You guys also have really amazing fans that come and consistently, which is great. I am just always going to be curious about the institution. And again, I've said this multiple times, we know athletics is a loss leader. It's never going to be balanced. I don't actually think that there's a single system that is balanced, and so I'm not pretending like we need to get there. But I do think, given all of the conversations that we've been having on this board, with money going out, raising tuition and things like that, I think it is important that we look at the amount of investment that we're making specifically for athletics. And I do think it is proportional to number of students, because that's what we're asking them to pay for, is be a part of this journey. So that's why I was asking about, the last 5 years totals over 70 million. The next 5 years will be over 90 million for institutional support into athletics. And so I just didn't know if there was a plan to maybe reduce that at some point, or if this is just the reality, and your school is going to have to figure out how to, fill that gap each year.
Yeah, I don't see how it can go backwards, just with the rising costs of everything and the expectations and all of the revenue share direction that we're going. But that's something that we will continue to work with the university CFO and the president about.
Thank you.
Regent Carvalho.
Thank you, Chair Brooks. Some of what Regent Brown just said was really was what I was going to bring up, that I do want to acknowledge that everything is going up. Prices for equipment, travel, they're all rising and including our Great COLA that we approved a few years ago. So I want to acknowledge that. I see that is part of the reason why we see greater numbers for all of our institutions. I wanted to kind of address the point that also Regent Brown mentioned about the idea of sports being a loss leader. I do think that they're not necessarily a loss leader. I think it can. There's definitely many intangible benefits to athletics on our campuses. I do feel like, as was mentioned a few times, the institutional support is something that the board is very interested in knowing about and knowing the strategic direction going forward for our schools. And so I think that that's something that I don't know if we can get some deeper information on what especially our two R1 institutions are planning to do with athletics moving forward. I know some of that is just difficult right now in this environment, that there are things that we don't know. But things like NIL also, I understand that we need to pay our athletes, but I also feel like the board is missing some of that, at least, the philosophy behind how our institutions are doing that. So I think that would be helpful so that we can, I feel like sometimes we're not always on board with our institutions with athletics, and we're always asking questions that maybe are a bit uncomfortable, but if we understand the philosophy behind it and the direction, that maybe it can be a much more positive conversations that we have for our institutions, because I don't really want to speak for everybody on the board, but from those I know, I think we are very much supportive of athletics. We just also are the fiduciary and want to make sure that the dollars are spent wisely. And not that they're not right now, but that we understand it as well as you all do. So I just wanted to put that out there. So thank you.
Regent Ariscado or Regent Downs, is there any comments or questions you guys have?
Question, yes. AD Remp, just to follow in the footsteps of Regents Brown and Carvalho, what is being done to increase the revenues at the same rate as expenses continue to increase without it coming from additional university support?
So I would probably echo some of the things that, so Stephanie Remp for the record, the University of Nevada. Some of the things that AD Harper also mentioned. So, revenue comes from a variety of sources, ticket sales, and that is a constant effort of all of ours to continue to drive ticket revenue. Conference revenue and the television contracts, that is well documented in the newspapers as well as on our reports, and the desires for that revenue to increase. Sponsorship, this was the first year that we actually hit revenue sharing, which means that we hit the number that we needed to be able to share in the revenue above what our third party is doing. Philanthropy, and we are doing a lot of things to grow our philanthropy. There's no question about that. Some of the things that are now available, I'm sure you've heard about it with UNLV, is the jersey patches as a way to generate revenue. And so we are doing everything we can to grow sponsorship opportunities, grow philanthropy. We recently created a fund, a Battle-Born Recruiting and Retention Fund, specifically for revenue sharing, because there are individuals that are interested in helping us from that perspective. So constantly working to do that, and obviously really continuing to push ticket sales, and nothing grows ticket sales more than winning.
So true. And then one other item, once again, Regent Brown is teeing me up to an easy questions. But she was talking about parodies in athletics. And when looking at the two athletic reports, if you go to the top line on each athletic report, the state appropriations to UNLV is receiving more, and that's been going on for years. But UNLV is receiving 8.39 and the University of Nevada is 5.78. There's not parity there when the state is providing more support specifically for athletics to UNLV than it is to the University of Nevada. Just want to bring up looking at both reports side by side, but that's not a question, that's just a point. So thank you, AD Ramp, I appreciate it.
Do you mind?
Regent Brown?
Yeah, okay. Regent Brown. Do you know what those lines are referring to? Yeah. Regent Arascata.
Regent Brown, this is an athletic report right now, but
I was just
if you
asking.
want to, the state appropriations, that one on the top of each page?
Yeah.
Regent Brown, we can definitely talk about this offline, but right now I'm just talking about the athletic reports, what's being presented to us today.
So you don't know, it's fine, I can share. So those two
didn't say
lines
that.
have, okay, sure. So those two lines are based off of the square footage of the facilities. Oh, shaking your head, good, good. And I get it, I've talked to President Sandoval about this, I understand that, you know, the way they calculate it is the way they calculate it, but that point to me is moot because it's based off of square footage. It's a calculation that the state put forward. So I'm not really sure what your point was with that, but thank you.
Well, thank you, Regent Brown and Regent Arascata, for shining light on some of the nuances of how the reports are provided to us in state appropriations. AD Ramp, you know, I just wanted to ask, it seems like in maybe echoing some things that Regent Carvalho was suggesting, and look, it's okay if it happens, but I think sometimes we find ourselves in an environment where there may be something precluding you or somebody else from providing us with information. And I'm not suggesting at all that it's purposeful, but there was a question posed to AD Harper, and it had more to do with litigation, and so he couldn't answer the question at this time. And I'm wondering how often we may find ourselves as a board seeking information that publicly it might not be the venue to provide all of the information that we're looking for. And so then it becomes, if that's the case, and it's okay that if it is, what is the way that Regents can ascertain information that may have to do with whether it's athletics or something else? And so what I would ask is, do you find yourself in any similar circumstances, the way that AD Harper had described, where there may be things that are happening with the institution that it's just not primed and ready to talk about publicly?
Stephanie Remp for the record. Not really. I always kind of take the approach of we're a public institution, so there's nothing that we can't really talk about. So, I mean, and kind of to one of the points earlier, I would welcome the opportunity to open our books and talk about every single ounce of our athletic department. There's nothing to hide. Like, if anything, I think it would create great transparency and get into the details of our finances. I would welcome that.
I greatly appreciate that. I don't think that anyone is suggesting that any athletic department, whether it be UNLV or UNR, is hiding anything. It was just a matter of wondering if there might be some circumstances where either litigation or something else might preclude us from having information. And if that's, I do believe that those are some of the things that are happening with UNLV, and if it's not any of those circumstances that would be similar for UNR, then great.
Yeah.
Then it's not.
I mean, we, obviously, the legal part of the conference stuff, but I actually don't even know what they are. So it's not like I can't tell you, I actually don't know.
Gotcha.
Maybe
Yeah, Mr.
President
Chair,
Sandoval knows.
Yeah.
I can help with that. This is Brian Sandoval, President of the University of Nevada. So, Mr. Chair, I think you're all aware, the Mountain West is breaking up, and there are 5 schools that are departing and going to the PAC. They're joining Washington State and Oregon State. And so there are 2 different pieces of litigation. There's a litigation against the departing schools because as part of their departure, there's a contractual arrangement whereby they owe the remaining members of the conference money pursuant to those contractual terms. And then there are the 2 schools, and I'm this is the term, the poaching schools, the two, as part of their scheduling arrangement with the Mountain West, because they didn't have a conference to play in, they agreed to pay the Mountain West Conference monies to schedule our teams, but there was also provision in that contract that provided that if they took any of our schools, they would have to pay an amount for each one of those schools they poached. And I'm using air quotes, so that's on the record. So in any event, there are two, I'll call them pots of money, buckets of money that are contested about this. The Mountain West believes it deserves every single penny of what was contracted for, because these were both agreements that were negotiated and agreed upon between the conferences and with the assistance of sophisticated counsel. But now those are the subject of litigation. And so those litigations are pending. The contents of the pleadings are all public information. If you want to go look at the specific court where those documents are filed, you can read through those. There's been one round of mediations where there was an effort to try and settle both of those cases. There was not enough money that was offered to resolve that to the satisfaction of the remaining Mountain West teams. So there's a lot of detail there, but that is, as much as where we are. And, we hope that this can be resolved, but if it isn't resolved through a settlement, it will not go to trial this year. It'll probably be next year, and there's an extensive amount of money that's being spent on attorney's fees, 7 figures of attorney's fees on both sides. So that's where it is, and obviously one party believes they should pay, and one party believes they should, or those other parties should believe that they should not. And then I wanted to also address Regent Carvalho, with regard to the NIL and the rev share. I think if you talk to anybody, nobody likes it. It is not sustainable because it just keeps escalating with the amount of money that has been being paid to the student athletes. And that's not to suggest they don't deserve to be paid, but right now it's really getting to be a lot of money, and I don't know how sustainable it is. And given the limits of our revenue and the media rights agreements, we're not the big schools. In these big schools, we have we're losing players that are giving 7 figures to transfer to some of these bigger schools in the Power 4 conferences. So we would like nothing better than there to be some type of limits on these amounts, because they keep increasing. But at the same time, it hits us on the revenue share. And so we can choose to stay where we are, and our best players are going to continue. We're going to be a farm team for some of these other schools that continue to take our players, and then we have to start all over again each and every year. So if you hear a sense of frustration in my voice, it's because I am, and I think you share the same. I'll echo AD Remp. I'm as hard on her as anybody in terms of making sure that we're good stewards of the money that we provide to the athletic department. But, I've said this to some of you privately. We've gone from pathetic, the amount of funding that the institution provided the athletic department, just to the middle of the Mountain West. And Regent Brager isn't here. When I got there, our women's teams facilities, their nutrition, all the resources they get, it was embarrassing. It was frankly embarrassing, and there had to be an investment. It's just the right thing to do in terms of making sure that our women student athletes had the resources that they need. It's about to go up again. You've all seen the stock market, but the cost of oil is going to go up, and when we have to charter to an athletic event, it's going to cost a lot more money. And those are the things that we can't anticipate on those things that are in front of you. We have to be able to transport our teams to Las Vegas and to Laramie, Wyoming, and soon to be North Dakota State, and all the different teams that are in our conferences. But we are finding every possible way to raise revenue, because I certainly want to make sure that we are being modest in the amount of campus support. I told you in the last meeting, we've been very strict about none of our student access fees go to our athletic department. They go exclusively, to financial aid for other students. And I know that's a discussion probably for a future meeting. But it's a struggle. It's frankly a struggle for schools of our size and in our conference. But we want to be competitive. And as Athletic Director Remp said, I mean, in order to increase your ticket sales, you have to be successful. I mean, it's just, that's the way it goes. And we've had a good year in basketball, a better year in football, and we hope that improves. And with this new arena, it's an absolute opportunity to raise more money for athletic departments. So we are turning over every rock. We're seeking every opportunity. We're spending our money in prudent ways. I think our women's coaches of our women's athletic teams, they were all in the bottom of the Mountain West, and I didn't think it was too much to provide them to at least to be in the middle. And to be able to attract decent coaches, you have to be able to pay them a decent salary. And the student athletes want to come to a place where they know that there's going to be a decent coach. We didn't even have locker rooms for some of our athletic teams, for our women's athletic teams. And so we have since corrected all of those things. So it's been a 4-year journey, and I think we are in a much better place than we were before.
Well, thank you, President Sandoval, for adding context to some of that and clearing some things up. And thank you, AD Remp, for your report. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to our next report from NSU, and I'll ask Acting President Lopez Lassiter if she would like to kick this off.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chair. Acting President Lopez Lassiter, Nevada State University. Absolutely delighted to invite our inaugural athletic director, Yvonne Wade, to report out on our inaugural report. Thank you.
Thank you, President Lopez Lassiter. And good afternoon, Chair Brooks, members of the Board of Regents, Chancellor, and campus colleagues. Yvonne Wade for the record, and I'm very honored to be here today. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on Nevada State University athletics. Traditionally, this report would focus on accomplishments from the previous academic year. However, as this is our inaugural year at NSU, there is no prior year to reflect upon. Instead, I'm pleased to share what we have been building this academic year, the intentional launch of Scorpion Athletics. The journey began with NSU campus leadership working with consultants from Comprehensive Athletic Consulting to strategically plan the implementation of varsity athletics. They choose to start small and purposeful with women's flag football and men's track and field, two sports that previously had no collegiate representation in Nevada. This allowed us to meet an unmet need in our state while aligning with emerging opportunities and institutional capacity. Recruiters were hired and tasked with enrolling 25 women for flag football and 25 men for track and field from our local community. 50 pioneers who established the culture and foundation of Scorpion Athletics. On July 1st, 2025, I was honored to be hired to lead this department, and my charge was clear. Establish strong policies and procedures aligned with institutional and governing standards, hire coaches and essential personnel to support student-athlete development, identify and coordinate campus resources to ensure our student-athletes have access to academic support and student services necessary for success. And lastly, kick off both sports seasons with competitive opportunities that would set the tone for NSU athletics. As both teams have recently started their season, I am proud to say our student-athletes have delivered on representing our campus and community in a memorable way. On February 20th, we proudly launched the inaugural Scorpion Kickoff Classic at the Intermountain Health Performance Center, the headquarters and practice facility of the Las Vegas Raiders. Hosting our first collegiate competition in a world-class facility sent a powerful message about the belief and investment our community has already shown in NSU athletics. The Raiders organization has been a tremendous partner in supporting the growth of our women's flag football program, and their willingness to open their doors helped elevate the experience for our student athletes and their families. As members of our starting lineup philanthropic initiative, the Raiders, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Stephen Lackey Foundation, and several generous anonymous donors have helped lay the groundwork for the philanthropic arm that will shape NSU athletics into the future. Currently, we are operating as an independent collegiate athletic program. As part of building a sustainable model, we are pursuing membership in the NAIA. After careful consideration, we chose the NAIA intentionally because it offers a mission alignment that emphasizes character, academic success, and a student-centered competition. A governance structure that allows for steady, controlled growth rather than rapid expansion, greater flexibility in program development, and a cost model that is significantly more sustainable for a young program building from the ground up. This pathway allows NSU athletics to grow responsibly, ensuring that sustainability, Compliance and student success remain our priorities while still creating the college athletic experience. Additionally, we are seeking conference alignment with the Great Southwest Athletic Conference. Although this may not happen immediately, we believe the GSAC has established a strong and stable foundation in women's flag football and provides high-quality competitive opportunities in the Western region. With partner institutions primarily located in Arizona and California, travel is manageable, budgets remain controlled, and missed class time for our student athletes is minimized. Championship pathways are clear and geographically accessible. For track and field and cross country, opportunities are abundant. These sports naturally compete in open meet formats and invitationals, allowing us to schedule competitions within just a few hours of campus. The Western region offers numerous high-level meets, enabling our student athletes to compete at a strong level without excessive travel costs and academic disruption. As part of the NAIA application, we will add women's track and field and cross country with a limited roster. Importantly, this expansion can be accomplished without requesting additional institutional funding. Through strategic budget reallocation, we can utilize the same coaching staff, same travel structure, and shared operational efficiencies. This is measured and responsible growth. Our philosophy remains consistent. Build the foundation first, ensure policies are solid, ensure student support systems are strong, and ensure financial sustainability. Once that stability is achieved, we will explore additional sport offerings based on available resources, facility access, budget support, and input from the campus and community stakeholders. NSU is about opportunity, it is about access, it is about building something that reflects the values of this institution and serves the students in this state with integrity and intentionality. Thank you for your continued support as we build Scorpion Athletics the right way, strategically, sustainably, and student-centered. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you, AD Wade, for your report, and I'll ask if there are any regents with questions or comments for the athletic director. I don't see any. Thank you again for the report, and I will say it was fantastic being at that inaugural flag football game. And your student athletes are tremendous on the field, extraordinarily powerful and determined to do well. So
I appreciate it. Thank you.
thank you again for the report. We'll now move on to College of Southern Nevada. President Klippenstein, would you like to introduce?
Yes, thank you
Someone
very
to your
much, Chair
reports?
Brooks.
Thank
Stacy
you.
Klippenstein for the record. It's my honor to have, I think there he is. Thank you very much. Officer in charge of our athletic department, who's also our men's baseball coach. Some of you, if you've been to our men's baseball games, by the way, we're number 12 in the nation because of this guy. But overall, he's also performing in the athletic directing position, Nick Garitano.
Good afternoon. Nick Garitano for the record. Chair Brooks and members of the board, thank you for having us. Thank you for this opportunity to provide the update on CSN Athletics and Recreation. I'm currently the interim officer in charge of our athletic department and head baseball coach. We are currently in the initial stages of our hiring a full-time athletic director that will be in place for the 26-27 fiscal year. The 24-25 year was an important one for our department. It reflects progress, stability, and a clear direction forward, academically, competitively, and financially. The academic success is our first and foremost importance. Our student athletes continue to perform well in the classroom. In 24-25, 34 of these athletes earned NJCAA Academic All-American honors, which is a 3.6 or higher, passing at least 24 credits. 49 received additional academic recognitions, example, President's List, Dean's List, and Honors List. 62 student athletes graduated, 36 student athletes transferred to four-year institutions to continue both their academic and athletic careers. And additionally, of the 62 total graduates, 15 continued at an NSHE four-year institution, reinforcing our role in supporting the broader state pipeline. Our student athletes averaged a 2.95 GPA, well above the NJCAA minimum requirement of a 1.75 for eligibility. Our academic success rate stands at 82.65% and continues to trend upward. More than 70% of our most recent cohorts identify as first-generation college students, demonstrating that athletics remains a meaningful pathway to higher education access in Southern Nevada. Our local impact, we currently serve 196 student athletes. More than 150 of them are from Southern Nevada. We're keeping local talent home and helping build a college-going culture in our own community. And our teams completed nearly 5,000 hours of community service this year, and our digital reach exceeded 2.9 million impressions, extending the visibility of CSN across the region. Our competitive excellence in our first year in Region 1 in the ACCAC, the transition has strengthened competition and elevated the profile of our programs. Baseball won the ACCAC regular season championship and finished as Region 1 runner-up. Softball finished as a Region 1 runner-up. Women's basketball, the Region 1 runner-up, and we earned all region honors. We had athletes earn all region honors, the Player of the Year recognition, as well as a Coach of the Year honor. The move to Region 1 has proven to be the right step for us and forward for our student athletes and our institution. Financial stability and recovery. This report reflects the 24-25 fiscal year, which was the final year under the previous $2 per credit hour fee structure. Under that model, the department finished the year in a deficit position. Throughout the year, we've remained disciplined in managing expenses while preparing for a more sustainable funding approach. We would like to thank the board for their approved fee last year and the adjustment which took effect in the fiscal year of 2026 for the 2026 fiscal year, providing the support needed to move the department forward. With this 26 budget now in place, we expect to eliminate the current deficit and return to the positive reserves. Our projections also show steady improvement in the years ahead. In short, we're moving from a deficit position to a sustainable financial model, and we are doing so in a controlled and responsible way. Regional leadership, we have a SCORE program. Regent Goodman, I'm sure you're very, very close to this, to your heart. Beyond the Campus, the Carolyn Goodman SCORE program continues to make a very meaningful impact to Southern Nevada. Since its launch in fall 2022, 1,297 new officials have entered the Southern Nevada Officials Association through this partnership. That is a significant contribution to the region's growth, growing sports infrastructure and workforce needs. CSN is not only serving students, we're also serving the broader community. So looking forward, as we look ahead, our focus remains clear. We'll continue strengthening the connection between athletics enrollment and retention. Athletics helps attract our students to CSN, and just as importantly, helps keep them enrolled and progressing towards completion. We will continue building on initiatives like the Core 4 and the 15 to Finish, which encourage early completion of key transfer courses and full academic loads that keep students on track. We're also evaluating long-term staffing improvements with the goal of expanding full-time coaching and support positions over the next several years to better serve our student athletes. In addition, we are committed to expanding and enhancing recreation opportunities across all 3 CSN campuses. We'll continue working collaboratively across campus to enhance school spirit, student engagement, and a stronger sense of community. In closing, athletics here at CSN is not simply about competition. It's about opportunity, persistence, completion, and community. We're proud of the progress we've made, clear about where we are headed, and committed to responsible growth. Thank you for your continued support of CSN Athletics. At this time, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. I'm not sure if I should refer to you as coach or officer in charge, or what are you most comfortable with?
I've been called a lot worse than both at home from my wife, but coach would work as thank you, President Klippenstein. He offered me the opportunity to step off the field next year to become the permanent athletic director. I've been in this community coaching for a very, very long time. And I've chosen to stay on the field. It's a passion of mine, and hopefully there's some more pastures in front of me at some point in time, but CSN is my home, and I love this place.
Well, thank you, Coach, for the report. And listen, I don't think folks understand, or it's possible that people don't know the caliber of coach that you are, and that you are ranked in the nation as one of the best junior college baseball coaches around. And there are kids that you have coached who are absolutely in playing Major League Baseball and on their way to doing some great things. And so I think it's great that you're here. It's fantastic that you're going to move on to be athletic director. I think that is a bit of a loss for baseball. So hopefully, oh, you're not.
He's going to go back to the field.
I'm going to stay on the field.
I misunderstood. I thought you were moving into an administrative spot, and I was thinking, gosh, that's, well, great. Then I'm glad to hear that you'll be coaching. I think CSN is in great hands with you at the helm of baseball, and I'll ask if there's any regents who have questions or comments as I take my foot out of my mouth. No? Coach, I think that was a great report where we don't, President?
If I may, thank you very much, Chair Brooks, Stacy Klippenstein for the record. I just want to echo some things about Nick. Nick stepped in and really did a fantastic job organizing, making sure that the athletic department is doing everything that he just said they should be doing. So thank you very much, Nick. I know that you won't be up here at the podium and you'll be relieved next year, but you will be on the baseball field. We do appreciate that. And just to throw something out there, as Chair Brooks mentioned about wonderful student athletes that come from us as we enter into the World Baseball Classic. Just so you know, CSN alumnus is playing for the USA team, and if you want to cheer on Bryce Harper, please do. He played for our team here under Coach Nick, and so you know what? That's a little bit of pride, right? A little bit of USA. So I just wanted to say thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you again, Coach. There's nothing wrong with the Phillies, Regent Brown. Okay, all right. So we'll move on now to TMCC, and I'll ask President Alexander if he would like to introduce the athletic director who will be furnishing the report.
Thank you very much, Chair Brooks. Jeffrey Alexander from TMCC for the record. We are so proud of our Lizards. Men's and women's soccer continue to excel at virtually everything they do, and I'm very pleased to introduce live from the system office in Reno our athletic director, Jeff Hawkins, who will present TMCC's athletic report. Jeff, please take it away.
For the record, Jeff Hawkins, G-E-O-F-F, Hawkins, H-A-W-K-I-N-S. Good afternoon, Chancellor, Chairperson, Regents, and members of the board. I am the Director of Fitness, Wellness, and Athletics at Truckee Meadows Community College. I'm here today to present our annual report for fiscal year 25. Today also with me is going to be the Vice President of Finance and Government Affairs, Mike Pearl, and he will answer any questions you might have regarding our annual budget and our 5-year financial outlook. With regard to fiscal year 2025, we had 5 primary objectives. Number 1, to recruit 80% of our athletes from Nevada. 2, to increase the access for first-generation student athletes. 3, to maintain or improve our academic success and persistence rates. 4, to continue our philanthropic work in the local community. And 5, to increase our branding and media exposure. As I stand here today, I'm very proud to report that we committed and completed all of these objectives. In addition to those 5 objectives, NSHE has 3 broader objectives. Those are student success, academic support, and student access. At TMCC, student success reflects the combined efforts of the Student Services Division, the coaches, and the athletes themselves. During fiscal year 2025, we had 53 athletes, including 31 first-year students, all of which declared degree pathways. Our sophomores completed their associate's degrees, skill certificates, and transferred to 4-year institutions. Of particular importance, our success was rewarded when we received numerous Scenic West Athletic Conference academic awards, as well as a feather in our cap. We had 8 athletes that were named as NJCA Academic All-Americans. Overall, student success continues to be TMCC's top priority, with academic performance, persistence, and degree completion serving as key indicators for our program. With regard to athletic support, we provide a comprehensive academic support system designed to help student athletes excel including balancing the demands of a collegiate athlete. Support services include mandatory study hall, tutoring, a program that we call homeroom that provides extra assistance to those in need. We also have mandatory advising with designated athletic advisors to provide the essential guidance that our athletes need with their complex schedules. And of course, we have faculty mentors who guide and serve as liaisons with the instructors. Finally, with student access, TMCC remains committed to local first-generation student athletes from Nevada, particularly those who may not have had previous access to collegiate athletic opportunities within their own communities. During fiscal year 2025, we had more than 90% of our athletes come from Nevada. We remained 100% compliant with all facets of Title IX. We provide equitable facilities, resources, and opportunities for all participants, ensuring fairness in budgets, travel, practice schedules, and competitive play. The program will continue to welcome student athletes pursuing broad range of degrees, career paths, and professional aspirations. Fiscal 2025 for us was full of highlights. First, starting with our men's and women's soccer programs that continued their strong performance on the field and continuing the momentum that we had built on in prior years. The women's soccer achieved new milestones, including an unblemished preseason record and establishing themselves as the true standouts in the Sierra Nevada region. The men's team had many players earning spots on TMCC's all-time records. Finally, both teams posted commendable GPAs and strong persistence rates. In addition to the team achievements, both soccer programs celebrated numerous individual honors. TMCC athletes earned 6 region awards for on-field performance, as well as receiving multiple academic awards from the Scenic West Athletic Conference and the NJCAA. Perhaps the most exciting milestone, and probably to Regent Rager's heart, is the continued growth of our athletics program with the approval and addition of women's volleyball. This team was not created overnight. It was born from passion, persistence, and the powerful voice of our student body. The foundation began with our Student Government Association-sponsored volleyball club, which currently has grown to more than 100 members strong, a remarkable testament to the enthusiasm and dedication of our students. Their excitement proved that the desire was real and the interest was undeniable. Our SGA played a crucial role for their support for athletics, and it was echoed through student campus surveys to ensure that every student had a voice in the future of our athletics program. The message was clear. Our students wanted volleyball and were ready to support it. The launch of our women's volleyball program is more than the addition of a new team. It represents growth, opportunity, and the continued evolution of our college. It expands pathways for student access, it strengthens school pride, and it enhances the identity of our campus and commitment to excellence in every arena. In fiscal year 25, we saw the second year of our youth soccer camps, which continue to elevate the visibility and the reputation of our athletics program. The camps attracted parents, coaches, and players from various cities and regions. It expanded awareness for TMCC athletics and strengthening the institution's overall performance. It strengthened our brand recognition, it generates revenue, it helped create a strong sense of community, and it sustained long-term engagement among the community. Perhaps closest to my heart is that TMCC remains committed to well-rounded student athletes fostering a spirit of service within the community. During fiscal year 25, our student athletes participated in meaningful philanthropic efforts across Northern Nevada. Some of our favorite partners are Children's Cabinet, 3 Square Food Bank, Washoe School District, Northern Nevada Rave Family Foundation, the Food Bank of Northern Nevada, and the Eddy House, just to name a few. With regard to our financials, we are fiscally sound and well managed. Every year we have maintained a positive fiscal balance, demonstrating disciplined budgeting and responsible financial oversight. Our strong revenue streams and diversified funding sources continue to contribute to healthy reserves and ensuring long-term stability and sustainability of our athletic program. Fundraising remained a core focus of our athletic program. We strengthened engagement with the Northern Nevada community and resulting in support for TMCC athletics. The Mighty Lizard Booster Club was reignited, and as a result of all these efforts, our donor funds increased, our revenues increased, our fundraising events expanded with donor participation and community outreach. In sum, TMCC's funding or fundraising increased more than 50% from the previous year. As we look into the future, we are committed to continually strengthening our athletics program to support the core objectives of TMCC and, of course, NSHE. Each year, we assess our areas of success and our opportunities for improvement. From these evaluations, we develop targeted strategies to address program needs, evaluate student engagement, and advance our goals for both TMCC and NSHE. Looking ahead to the next upcoming year, our 5 primary objectives are going to be exploring additional intercollegiate sports to meet student interest and expanded student access, enhance our sports medicine and equipment to ensure the highest level of care for our student athletes, to develop and build an athletic grants and scholarship program to provide greater financial assistance to our participants. 4, to strengthen our fundraising efforts by continuing to create and implement campaigns and events in partnership with the TMCC Foundation. And finally, we want to continue to expand our marketing initiatives to increase visibility, engagement, and community support. In sum, TMCC Athletics not only met, but it adapted to the immediate challenges of fiscal year 2025. We also strengthened its foundation with key enhancements that will benefit the program well into the future. TMCC remains committed to supporting its 2 soccer programs, its brand new volleyball program, promoting strong academics and athletic performance, and ensuring our program is an integral part of the Northern Nevada community for years to come. Thank you, Chancellor, Regents, for the opportunity to present here today. I would like to answer any questions you may have, and please remember in Las Vegas today with any financial questions, our Vice President of Finance and Government Affairs is on hand to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, A.D. Hawkins, for that report. Is there any regents who have questions or comments for A.D. Hawkins? I don't see any. Thank you again for your time and the report that you provided us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So that concludes the athletic reports. This is for possible action. So I'll ask if there's a motion to accept the athletic reports from UNLV, UNR, NSU, CSN, and TMCC.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Regent Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Regent Bautista. So we have a motion by Regent Brown to accept the athletic reports from UNLV, UNR, NSU, CSN, and TMCC. Was seconded by Regent Bautista. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, please signify by saying aye or nay. No or nay. Perfect. We'll now move on to agenda item number 15. This is a proposed purchase for real property in Reno, and I'll ask TMCC President Alexander to walk us through this information-only item.
Thank you, Chair Brooks. I'm ready to bring this meeting home.
Do it.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Goodman, Regents, Chancellor McNair, Presidents, and NSHE colleagues. My name is Jeffrey Alexander, President of Truckee Meadows Community College, for the record. I come before you today to share an information item about our plan to purchase real property at 555 Reactor Way in Reno. I realize that 555 sounds like a fake address, but I assure you that the property is real and its purchase is a really exciting opportunity for TMCC. First, I would like to begin with the why. As I have shared with you in recent months, enrollment in our Applied Technology Division grew by 37% in fall 2025, year over year. And this spring semester, enrollment is up 56% across our applied tech programs. These gains are driven especially by our Bachelor of Architecture program as well as advanced manufacturing, which now trains over 1,000 apprentice workers from area firms each year. Additionally, TMCC has just brought forward an AAS degree in construction management, which is well-timed to support the rapid pace of building in our region. These and the many other programs at our William N. Pennington Applied Technology Center on Edison Way are simply out of space, and we need a new building to enable further growth. And we desperately need more parking. To be sure, these are good problems to have, and there is a solution. Last summer, the owners of the property on Reactor Way, which we have dubbed the Reactor Building, approached us with an interest in selling their property to TMCC. Conveniently located less than a mile from our Edison site and very near to the Reno Airport, the 33,000 square foot building has tremendous potential to become a first-class instructional facility. It comes in two parts: a 23,000 square foot manufacturing warehouse and a 10,000 square foot two-story office building attached. The office building will provide a ready home for classrooms and faculty offices, while the warehouse has excellent capacity for 3 of our fastest-growing programs, which I will outline briefly for you now. First, we will at last be able to bring together all 5 years of our Bachelor of Architecture program in a single studio setting. Currently, this program occupies several different rooms at our Edison site, and the national accrediting body requires us to assemble them together in one location, as the students in years 1 through 5 learn from one another. A single studio environment thus enables them to design, build, and display their work collaboratively, and our program leadership is very excited about this opportunity. Next, the warehouse will also enable us to triple the scale of our advanced manufacturing program to meet the growing needs of our partner firms, Tesla chiefly among them. Tesla wishes to double the current pace of apprentice training in 2026, and they forecast additional growth in future, chiefly in support of their battery and semi-truck production lines. And importantly, Tesla is not alone. We work with other area firms as well, including makers of electrical parts, custom battery assemblies, and so on. Finally, the building provides a space for us to stand up our new AAS degree in construction management, which is urgently needed and widely supported by area construction firms. The Reactor Building will thus be home to 3 of the fastest-growing programs at our college, and our workforce development partners are likewise very excited about this concept, as it will serve as a calling card for prospect firms looking to relocate to our region. These companies will see that we are serious about supporting their companies and their training needs. Finally, I will discuss the due diligence that we have undertaken prior to bringing this information item before you today. You will find complete documentation of each of the following steps in today's agenda packet. First, we commissioned a professional appraisal of the property, which came in at $8.125 million. Next, we ordered a facilities condition assessment, and the inspector found the buildings to be in excellent condition with only minor maintenance anticipated over the next 10 years. After that, we ordered a 2-phase environmental assessment, which included soil and groundwater testing, and the results came back clean with no hazardous substances detected. Finally, at the request of Mike Wixom, we commissioned a complete survey of the property, which has verified the lines of demarcation that are on file with Washoe County. As for the purchase itself, TMCC plans to bond this investment over 10 years via NSHE. We have the revenues needed to pay the bond, and as the 3 programs that we plan to house at the site presently generate annual revenues that exceed the appraised value of the property by more than 40%, we will handily be able to cover the annual bond payment of roughly $1 million. Additionally, I am delighted to share that TMCC has been awarded a $1.7 million grant from the U.S. Department of Education, specifically to fund the updates needed to set up and equip a new advanced manufacturing training center. All we need now is a new place to call home. From here, we will seek the Chancellor's approval to enter into formal negotiations with the seller, and if we can agree upon a sale price, we aim to bring that purchase contract to your Business, Finance, and Facilities Committee at your June quarterly meeting. Along the way, we will continue to rely upon Mr. Wixom's counsel with sincere thanks for his assistance. But before any of that occurs, I wanted to bring this item before you today so that the entire board is aware of our planned investment in our students and our workforce. I would be glad to answer any questions, and thank you, Chair Brooks.
Well, thank you, President Alexander, and You did that in under 8 minutes, and I know that we were talking about how much time this may take for you to present this information to us, so thank you very much for doing it in the manner in which you did. Are there any regents who have questions or comments for President Alexander?
Question from Reno?
Regent Arascata?
Thank you. President Alexander, not necessarily a question, but just for logistic purposes, can you give the proximity of 555 to your current campus, which is, I don't know, a couple hundred feet away?
Yes, thank you very much, Regent Arascata. The answer is 0.8 miles. That is as the crow flies. It is behind the new Hamilton Complex building, which severed the road at Reactor Way, but the road has been moved and now goes behind the new structure. And we believe that it's possible not only to drive there, but even to walk there if needed.
And the relationship between the two buildings, we have an overlap in staff, overlap in, let me rephrase that. We have shared staff members with each building or faculty members?
Thank you, Arascata, for the question. The plan will be to relocate 3 of the programs to the new facility and their faculty and their supporting staff as well. There will still be some management personnel who now presently manage the William N. Pennington Applied Technology Center. They will have responsibility for both sites. And this together we will refer to as our Edison site for short.
Fantastic. This is wonderful information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Regent Arascata. Regent Del Carlo?
Thank you, Chair Brooks. I can talk. This is really great because you could not build a new building for 8.1 million. I mean, you couldn't even hardly get the planning dollars to do it. So it's like a gift. And I know the building's in really good shape and it's so close and the parking is so important. So this is really great for our Northern Nevada ecosystem.
Thank you, Regent Del Carlo. I should add that it does come with almost 50 new parking spots. We're very excited.
Thank you, Regent Del Carlo. Regent Fernandez.
I know you and I have talked a lot about this, and I really love the passion of not just you, but the faculty and staff at TMCC for the space and really the opportunities it will bring to Northern Nevada and beyond. So I just want to commend you for your efforts here and your vision, along with those who support you as well, to bring us to the point that we're here today. So I look forward to seeing what will become of this building and the successful people who will graduate from them as well. So thank you all.
Thank you, Regent Fernandez.
President Alexander, thank you very much again for the report.
Thank you,
We'll
sir.
now move on to agenda item number 16, public comment. Is there any public comment at GBC? I don't hear anything from GBC, so I'll move on.
There's no public comment at GBC.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Is there any public comment at the system office in Reno?
None in Reno.
Is there any public comment here at CSN? I'm going to say this might be a first at a quarterly meeting, but we'll go with it. SES, is there any public comment on the phone?
No callers at this time, Mr. Chair.
Well, thank you very much. This meeting will be in recess until 9 a.m. tomorrow, and I'd like to remind you that there is a reception in the lobby of Building K. And President Klippenstein, would you mind letting us know where Building K is?
Building K stands for Building Klippenstein, just to let you know.
Perfect.
It's actually, when you go out the doors, either this way or that way, you'll go to your right or left. It's over in this side. We have a cart that can take you there if you feel like you need to.
We might need to try that one more time, because it was either this way or that way, and then it's going to be on the left behind the building.
If you go out these doors, take a right, kind of swing around the side of the building, and then you'll see the big K building. It's a multi-storied building just over to your left-hand side. We have some carts going, and you should hear the mariachi band, or Mariachi Plata will be performing, and so you should be able to find your way.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, President.